Well, happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you'll see a chat box, and in there you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, we got a lot of great content to show tonight. Got some pictures from viewers on some success stories, so on some lawns that are not doing so great with all this heat we've been having. So you're going to get to see the gamut of, different levels of success and the struggle bus. So hope you guys will enjoy that. Hopefully everyone is doing well. It's been a busy week. I got my mow-in before the live stream and got my mow-in, got my fertilizer app done, as well as my carbon kit application. So it's a little bit early, but we're supposed to have a bunch of rain over the next few days, like really all the way through the first part of August. So I took this gap in the weather to get my mow-in, my fertilization done, get my growth regulator, everything like that. So we'll see how well it holds out. I need an hour or hour or two of some dry weather, hopefully, but without rain. And we'll fingers crossed that I get that. If not, life will go on. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. I know in different parts of the country, we've suffered with a lot of drought here lately, and with all the rainfall we're getting, it's certainly welcome. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream this evening. We got Jackie Burr saying, "Brother Ron, happy stream, sir. Have an excellent weekend, everybody." Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that, Jackie. I'm gonna do my best to have a good stream. And as always, guys, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube as our primary platform, but you can also get us on Facebook and Instagram. So hopefully if you're on Instagram, you should be able to see this as well. On Twitter, I guess they changed something now where you have to have a paid membership to be able to stream video. So I got to get that done at some point this week for the two of you that watch this on Twitter. So I can make sure we're covered, or Twitter or X, or whatever it's called now. All right. Then we got Mary J in the house saying, all excited. Thanks so much, Mary. I really appreciate that. And we have LG, the Notorious, is back in the house. She's saying, holla, holla, holla. Hopefully you're doing well, LG, we haven't seen pictures of your lawn. You've been scarce, man, like good gold. Folks been wondering what's been going on with you. You got to give us an update on how the lawn's doing, how JG's doing, how everything else is going in your world, because, we miss you. The next, we have Joss Keller saying, good evening, Mr. Ron. Quick question. About to get new sod of Celebration Bermuda. Excellent choice. Besides water, anything else I should be putting on fresh sod? Thanks again and love the channel. It really depends. I mean, if you want, I'm always a fan of doing a granular biostimulant like Essential G. That's a great choice for establishing new sod. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, if you go to shop and to the Miramichi Green Biostimulant section, the very first thing you'll find is Essential G. Combination of compost, biochar, humate, reclaimed coffee grounds, a bunch of different ingredients that really will help improve soil quality, will help that new sod root in really well. So this would be an absolute yes. And then if you're looking for fertilizer, what I would recommend, if you go over to our lawn fertilizer section, the Complete 14-7-14. This is an excellent starter fertilizer. It has a bit of everything. Your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium, a bit of kelp, bit of humic acid, got some micronutrient in it. So as far as like a complete feeding option for a new lawn, excellent choice. So I'll send you links to both those in the chat. That's what I would do on new sod. And again, the one thing you did mention was about watering and watering and watering. And yes, while you do want to water new sod, you don't want to overdo it either. So obviously don't let it dry out, but you shouldn't be watering so much that it turns into this really, soppy mess to where, you start creating conditions where disease can be a problem. And just it's important to water the sod, but be sure not to overdo it. If you're in Northeast Georgia with all the rain we've been having lately, if you're in the Southeast, with all the rain we've been having, you may not really even have to water that much, maybe once a day, and then let Mother Nature, produce or provide the rest of the water. So watering is important, but don't overdo it. So here's the fertilizer I was telling you about, the Complete 14-7-14 at Josh. Make sure you're all taken care of, and then I'll also link Essential G for you. So there is thing one, and then this is thing next. So make sure you're all squared away. Yeah, and congratulations on the new lawn. That's a lot of fun, man. New sod, new lawn is always it's always fun. It's always a new, it's always fun to take on a new project. The thing is, don't overthink it. Feed it, mow it, feed it and mow it. Feed it and mow it. Those are the big things. So don't while inputs are important, you can't really I can't stress enough the importance of regular mowing to have an amazing lawn. All right, so hope that helps. So if you need anything else, do let me know. Celebration Bermuda, everyone, it's funny. You went with Celebration, Josh. These days, Tahoma 31 is a new hotness. So Celebration is still, I still say, one of the most pretty stands of or different prettiest cultivars of Bermuda. So great choice for that. All right, next up is Coach McDonald says, got out of the yard just in time. You must be getting some of the rain that we're having. So I just got done mowing the lawn, took some video for you guys. You can see what I'm working with. We've been getting a bit of rain, so the lawn has bounced back as the richness of the color is returning. So you can see what I'm working with here. Literally, this was this afternoon. You can see the colors popping back in. You can see all of my arsenal on the patio getting ready to spray. The Humic Max is already applied in this picture. And then you can see, obviously, my other stripes to see what I'm working with. So overall, very happy with it. The lawn's coming back nicely. And this weekend is the time for growth regulator. So, we're going to get that done. That's why I wanted to get that done today, because it's the first and possibly the only patch of dry weather I'm going to have over the weekend. So we'll see. And we'll see. Hopefully it stays dry enough for it to work for me. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Jason Harrison in the house. He says, checking in to say hello. We'll catch the replay in the morning. Need to watch some opening ceremonies. Yeah, I figured that tonight's live stream would probably be a bit slow. We may get done a little bit earlier because, to your point, I believe the opening ceremonies for the Olympics are starting tonight, right? Or, well, starting today. They're airing it now. It's probably already happened, given that it's in France. But Team USA, do your best. Get over there. Do us proud. If any of you guys are watching, probably not. But, I mean, family of Team USA. Go out there and knock it out. All right, next we have Cooper's dad. He says, hey, Ron, considering a fungicide app with all this rain here in North Georgia, Not really, no. I mean, even despite all the rain we've been getting, it's been welcome. It's been a good thing. But really, for me, I find that fungicide, while it's an important tool, you really don't want to over apply it. So an application, a preventative app in May, June, and then again in the fall, late fall, so October, November is what I find works well in my program. Other people follow that and they get a great result with it as well too. This bit of rain we've been having now really shouldn't be a reason for fungicide. Unless you have a disease problem in your lawn and you've confirmed that's what's going on, I really would avoid it. You really don't want to, overuse fungicides. So in my case, no, I will not be applying any fungicide because lawn doesn't really need it. It's in good shape. I just gotta just mow it and feed it and mow it, growth regulator it, all that fun jazz. And yeah, so hopefully that helps Cooper's dad. Yeah. All right, next up is Mary J. She's in the house. She says, Ron, the golf course lawn 22-3 blend is a game changer in the way my lawn responded to adding it in with my biweekly PGR app. Mid-month app used to add a little stress with no product. Now I don't see any now. Awesome. Love to hear that, man. I can tell you, it's a lot of work went into that. If you guys, at some point I'll show you guys in my garage all the different options that I got from Anderson's when I was deciding on what to make, as far as like some dry options, other liquid formulations, and then finally settling on this. Really happy that you guys are getting great results with it. I mean, I've gotten awesome results with it. I know it's an excellent product because of all the iterations we went to get it to the point where it is. And now that it's out in the wild, happy to hear that you guys are getting good results, which is exactly what I was after. So great work. Awesome stuff. Love to hear it. All right, we have our first super chat of the evening. This one is from Mr. Stephen Wynn. Thank you so much, Stephen. Very generous of you.
Super chat received.
He says, happy Friday. Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you for the super chat. I know last week, I think you said that you did a super chat, but didn't come through or something like that. So you definitely made up or definitely worked this week. So again, thank you so much for all the love and support. And given that you are our first super chat of the evening, that also makes you our show sponsor. So let me get you all squared away here. Make sure I spell your last name correctly. I did. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thanks so much, sir. Again, I really do appreciate all the love and support. All right, next up, we have Mr. Gavin Moore in the live stream. He says, good evening, all. A lot of rain in Virginia. Yeah, we're also getting rain here in Georgia, too, which is nice. It's a welcome change. All the headache and, trials and tribulations we've endured over the last few months. It's nice to see things are taking a turn to where temps are in, the not quite as hot, temps in the 80s. And then also the rain we've been getting has also been great, too. So awesome stuff. Now, here's the thing, guys. All the rain we've been getting, I'll show you guys, we can go to some of it now. So show you how important water is, especially for cool season turf grass, right? Our lawns, our warm season lawns tend to tolerate heat pretty well. Like Bermuda, when it doesn't get enough water from rainfall, I mean, it doesn't, worst case scenarios, extreme scenarios, it'll go a bit dormant, lose its color, it'll fade a little bit, then it'll go dormant. But the time for that to happen is much more extended, meaning you have to have an extended period of like no precipitation, no irrigation for Bermuda to really begin to check out. Now, if you guys remember Larry's lawn, I wish I had a picture of his lawn earlier in the season, but he had that fescue lawn that he established from seed. He had his irrigation system got broken during the summer, so he was unable to water for a lot of the summer. And this is what really happens, what happens to a cool season lawn, a fescue lawn, when you're unable to put water on it. So the lawn used to be gorgeous, and you can see, the color's really gone out of it. Another option there. I mean, it's really looking a little bit rough, and there you go. The good thing though is that this is not dead. I mean, it's going dormant. When it gets rainfall or he gets his irrigation system running more regularly and it catches back up, the lawn's going to bounce back. It's going to recover. But I mean, it's looking. I agree with you, Larry, from the pictures you sent in an email. It is looking a little bit rough, but I mean, hey, this too shall pass. The lawn will recover. Just give it time. Just give it time. Remember, for you cool season folks, you guys get an advantage in that you have amazing looking lawns in the spring and amazing looking lawns in the fall. You just have to kind of make it survive the summer, summertime. And running proper functioning irrigation is a big part of that, assuming we're not getting rainfall. So fair or not, it will bounce back. You'll be good to go. So here's an example. Let me see if I got an example here of a warm season lawn, because I got a bunch of pictures tonight. Okay, so this is the example of Drought on a Bermuda lawn. So these came from none other than the Mr. Two Trilla. So that's a Bermuda lawn that is a bit stressed, right? And then I think I've got it correct here. And then this is after rainfall. So we'll go through them. So picture 1, picture 2. This is Bermuda lawn with we're not getting a bunch of rain, and this is beginning to lose a little bit of color, but it still looks pretty good. Again, front lawn still looks quite nice, but this is again not getting a lot of rainfall. And then with the rain we've been having in the past couple of weeks, you can see the same area. Color looks a lot better. The big thing to take note of is his lawn looks great. Look at the grass in the background. That's where you can really see the difference of how quickly Bermuda can recover. So you see the grass, that it's not being real mowed by him in the background, how the color's gone out of that. And if you compare that to that, you can see how just that little bit of rainfall that we've been having the past couple of weeks has made a big difference. And then you go to the front lawn now, again, from that to that, given that we've been having some more moisture. So Bermuda, definitely true to form, is a warm season grass. It does tolerate heat much better than cool season grass does. And again, you tend to use a little bit of color, but once we get just a taste of rainfall like we've been having here lately, it lights off and looks absolutely gorgeous again. So Tutrula, thanks so much for sending those pictures in. Really, really helpful. And it was, wanted to be able to illustrate to folks that, while your lawn will lose some color when temps are higher like this, and especially if we're not getting rain, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just not getting enough. It's not getting enough moisture. Once it starts getting rainfall, it'll be just fine. Again, this is the same lawn, just a couple of weeks apart, and the only major difference between this picture and this picture is rainfall. That's it. You know what I mean? So it just really shows how important regular rain, regular precipitation is to an amazing lawn. All right, next up is Cooper's dad. I think I already answered your question, Cooper's dad, about fungicide, but we'll go on. Next up, we got Mr. Oliver Rittam in the live stream. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Tuning in while mowing. I salute you, sir. I appreciate the effort to participate in the live stream, even though you're out there mowing, doing the work." He says, thank goodness for PGR, also laying down the ferts in preparation for August. Have a good stream tonight. You see, Oliver, you might be in Texas, but you and I, we're connected on some level because, I saw what was happening with the rain coming this weekend. I said, you know what? It's a couple days early, but if I don't do it today, I'm not going to be able to get it down easily. So I took today's the chance to do it, and you're doing the same thing. So see, we're on the same wavelength, man, you and me. And you are right. PGR is something else. Once you really start incorporating growth regulator into your program, it's such a game changer. It makes such a huge difference in just controlling growth, the color of the turf. It's just one of these things that it's like I always say, there's life before PGR and life after it. And now that you got it all figured out, you're comfortable with your applications and doing it done properly. Now you can't see yourself without doing it anymore, right? So glad to see that you're embracing it and having great success with it. All right, next up is a question from Stephen Wynn. Stephen says, "Hey Ron, is it too late to do a top dressing? Tifway 419 in Virginia." No, Stephen, not really. Really, you have, the guidance I use is before mid-August, early to mid-August, you want to get your top dressing done. Reason being is even though you've still got another 4 to 6 weeks of hot temperatures, if you push it much later than that, like say you waited until September-ish to go do a top dressing on a warm season lawn like your Bermuda lawn, you're taking the chance, you're really rolling the dice whether it's going to really grow through, because in September, once it begins to cool off, the grass starts growing more slowly, and then recovery is going to be a lot slower. So we're in the last week of July. If you're planning to get your top dressing done between this weekend and next weekend, that's going to be absolutely fine. I wouldn't wait too much longer than that, but you're going to be good to go as far as top dressing. Big thing is, as far as tips, go light. Like I always tell you all the time, when it comes to top dressing, don't go light, especially later on in the year. Go lighter so you give the grass the best opportunity to recover. So again, thank you so much for the super chat. Hope that helps. And if you decide to go forward with your top dressing, take pictures. Let us see what you're working with, how it was before, during, and of course, after. So thank you so much again for all the love and support. Keep me posted on how the lawn does. All right, on the topic of top dressing, I'm not sure if he's in the live stream tonight, but I told him I would show his pictures. Mr. Colby Brown is, like you, Stephen, considering like a later season lawn leveling project. So he sent me some pictures to share with you guys in the live stream tonight. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, here we go. All right, so picture one is he is deciding that he's going to lower his height of cut. I believe he was between, he was right at an inch, and you can see now he's going down between between 0.75 and half an inch. So he's in that 5/8 life. You can see where he went as far as that goes. I'm a fan of that. That makes it easier to spread the top dressing material. If you want to see just going from like between 3/4 of an inch and an inch to 5/8, what happens to the lawn is you can see him here now mowing it. I think if I can do that like this. Yep. So you can see the right side, the lawn looking pretty good, and the left side, what it looks like at 5/8. So he's doing a light scalp to take the height of cut down. The beauty of doing this, and the question you might be asking yourself is, why would you go out and do that, right? You're about to go level the lawn. What are the benefits of lowering the height of cut a bit? While, 3/4 of an inch to an inch is still pretty doable as far as being able to easily spread the material, going from say an inch to between half an inch and 3/4, believe it or not, even though it's a small amount, that does make a difference as far as how much easier it is to move the material around, to work it into the canopy, to get that material into those low spots. So if you can do it and you don't mind the lawn looking a little bit ugly, then it's a good thing to do. So in picture 2 here, you can see where he is scalping the lawn, going down, from between an inch and 3/4 down to, or we'll call it 5/8, right? Between half an inch and 3/4. All right, and this is the results of after that's done. You can see how it looks. Again, most of the color's been taken out of it, but it's okay because he's about to put a whole bunch of that on the lawn. Looks like he's got some masonry sand there, so it looks like a fun project, Colby. Take pictures, as you continue working through the process, and keep us posted as far as how his recovery goes. You guys would remember, Colby's done a ton of work on that lawn over the course of the season. So I know he did, let me see this picture of the back lawn. Yeah. So he did a renovation where he killed off the existing lawn. He got a super sack of carbonized PN. He spread that earlier in the season, and then he put out grass seed, and then it grew in, and now he's doing the lawn leveling work. So he's done a lot of work this year, and it really shows. Again, the lawn, if you look at just him mowing it, the right side there, color looks really good. Stripe action's on point, but it's going to be even better now he's about to get that top dressing done. Now, Colby, the only thing I might critique you on a little bit here is I didn't see an aerator. I saw the mow done. I see the mowing being done, which is good. I see the sand, also good. The thing that I would highly recommend, if you can do it, and it might be too late because by the time you set these pictures, maybe you're already out there putting the material out, is if you can core aerate before you put that sand down, it would be a good thing. It does a better job of integrating, all the material you're going to be using, that masonry sand, in with the existing soil profile. So again, I'm a huge fan of, if you're going to do a lawn leveling project, really aeration should be a part of that. Now, if you're just doing a top dressing, putting some compost out, not as necessary, still a good thing, but not strictly as necessary. But if you're going to get out there and you're going to start adding sand to the profile, especially with the goal of using it to help improve drainage, then a core aeration as part of your lawn leveling is a good idea. I realize it's more work, but I mean, hey, awesome does not come easy, right? So keep me posted as far as how it goes, Colby, and best of luck. All right, next up is Colin. Colin's in the live stream. He says, "What's up, Ron? I hope your Friday's been well. Missed the past couple of live streams, but I am here today." We'll take it, Colin. First, at one point I was starting to hold that against folks, but I'm learning to let it go. He's looking forward to some good lawn talk. So he also sent some pictures as well, Colin did, showing the sodding project where he was before, and then how the lawn has looked now. If you guys remember, earlier in the season, he did a mini renovation where he, pulled the existing sod out and he resodded. So let me see if I've got those pictures. I can pull them up here now. So this is what he's working with before, like right after he put the new sod down. And then this is what that looks like now. So much better. It blends in nicely. Big difference, big improvement from that to that. And here's the thing, Colin, it's going to get even better next season. No, it looks good now. Next year, it's going to be even that much better. So just keep mowing it, keep feeding it. And, the lawn is going to do better and better the more love you give it. All right, next up we got Rashid Turner. He says, "Ron, this is the season was the first time where you really got into lawn care. I didn't get the results I wanted. I can't wait until next season. By the way, is it smart to level a lawn that has bare spots? Yeah, Rashid. So to answer your question, yes, it is a good idea to fix bumpy areas in your lawn, especially if your goal is to mow lower. So if you're planning to real mow the lawn, the smoother you can make it, the lower you're going to be able to go without scalping. From an appearance standpoint, it looks better. So if you look at my lawn, it's been through several rounds of top dressing. A big part of why it looks like that is all the leveling work that it's had over the years. Now, as far as bare spots, as long as the reason why you have the bare spots is not due to a disease problem, there's some debris under the soil, like a rock or plywood or some of the garbage. It's an area that's not heavily shaded, so meaning it's just an area that's just struggling. If you're going to do a lawn leveling project and you've got a few spots that are bare, there's no negative to top dressing those as well. But again, you really want to make sure that there's not some other reason holding back grass growing in those areas, if that makes sense. In other words, if you had a part of your lawn that had bare areas, say due to shade, leveling your lawn is not going to fix that. If you got parts of your lawn that are bare, that don't have grass growing due to some plywood, or they maybe did like a concrete washout in your lawn when they were building your property and they didn't, so the grass just isn't rooting in really well there. Lawn leveling is not going to fix that. So at this point in the season, again, assuming we're talking about a lawn that hasn't been like neglected for a long period of time, at this point in the season, your lawn should be looking pretty good. Like, if you started out and you've been working on it consistently from say March, April timeframe to now, you should start seeing some improvements. If you're doing you did a full renovation this year, you may have some areas that are a little bit thin that are still growing in, but there should be notable progress if you've been doing the work consistently over the course of the season. So I really wouldn't let a few bare areas hold you back from doing your lawn leveling work. Just again, like I was telling the other viewer, go light. Telling Steven, go light. Don't get out there and say, hey, I'm going to beach the entire thing, put an inch and a half of sand down and hope for the best. This late in the season is not a great idea. So by all means, get your leveling done if you want to, but be sensible about it. And by sensible, a quarter of an inch to half an inch of material, no more than half an inch. And what you'll tend to find is for most lawns, 1 cubic yard of material over 1,000 square feet tends to produce that type of result as far as like how heavy the material goes down. On my lawn, I can actually get by with less material because it really doesn't take much to level my lawn these days, because really when I do a lawn leveling project, I'm just filling in like wear marks from the mower. But on a lawn that again has never been top dressed before, 1 cubic yard per 1,000 is that should be enough to where you have good coverage and you're not going to end up going too heavy. All right, next up is Andre Taylor. Says, evening, Ron. Happy Friday. Looking forward to a great stream tonight. I'm gonna do my best, man. I'm competing with the Olympics, which is, let's face it. I think I'm exciting, but the Olympics once every 4 years. You guys get me every week. You can watch me on the replay, so I get it. Probably gonna be a little bit slower tonight, but life goes on. All right, next up we got Mr. Ricky Lennon in the house. He says, hey guys, what's going on, Ricky? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Appreciate you coming by to say hi in the live stream. All right, next up we have Rad 1986. He says, hey Ron, when using PGR, does it affect the effectiveness of herbicides on broadleaf weeds, since I would think the weed growth also slows? I really wouldn't think so, Rad. The thing is whenever you are, let me think of a better way to answer this. Like, weeds in your lawn should not be there so prevalent that growth regulator is really even a factor. So if you are spraying a selective herbicide to control the broadleaf weeds in your lawn, you'll do that, and 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they should be dying off, and you're going on with life. So so it's not like weeds in your lawn really shouldn't, or a few weeds in your lawn really shouldn't enter into the calculus of whether you use growth regulator or not, because that's going to be a temporary thing, assuming you're doing something to get rid of them. You see what I mean? So if you're putting out if you are spraying a selective herbicide for the weeds in your lawn, growth regulator is not going to really negatively affect how well the herbicide works. Ideally, if you're spraying you would spray the herbicide when there's a lot of leaf. So when the weed is growing out some, spray it, wait 2 days before you mow. And then once you cut all the leaf off, the weed is going to have a lot harder time growing back because you're giving it a couple of days to take in the herbicide, and that's just going to be, it really should become not much of a non-issue after that. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, growth regulator should not negatively impact the effectiveness of the herbicides you're using on your lawn, because again, that should be once, maybe twice per season thing with you having to use post-emergent herbicides if you're doing it right. And yeah, whereas growth regulator is something you're going to be doing, if you do it the way that I recommend anyways, every 2 weeks at low rates. So hope that helps. All right, next up is John Smith. He says, hey Ron, thank God it's Friday. Let's get those likes up this evening. Yeah, guys, we got 87 people in the live stream tonight, only 52 likes. It's not a bad ratio, but we can do better than that. So if you guys want a free way to support the channel, feel free to hit that like button. Costs absolutely nothing. Would make me feel good. And, if you wouldn't mind doing that, I'd really, really appreciate it. While I take a sip of my lemonade. I mix it a little strong tonight. Normally, it's like this much water. It's normally like a 50-50. Tonight, I was a little heavy-handed with the Chick-fil-A lemonade. It's tasty, though. Okay. Next, we have Julius Elias. It says, what liquid fertilizer should you use if you have 2% iron? I'm not sure of your question, Julius. If you're asking like what liquid fertilizer, if you're after 2% iron, I can show you a couple of options. So we have a micronutrient on the Golf Course Lawn Store, one that we partner with the Andersons to produce. It's an excellent product. I actually sprayed it on my lawn today. And it is this one, Golf Course Lawn Micronutrient Blend. This has, that's conveniently 2% iron in it. So if you're looking for a way to add 2% iron to your lawn, mixes nicely with your growth regulator, any other liquid fertilizers you happen to be using, this is an excellent option. Again, this is literally the same stuff that I use on my lawn. Was in over a year in development, and we've been getting lots of great feedback on it. So if you're looking for something like that, this is what I would recommend. So there you go, Julius. Liquid micronutrient. There you go. That's it. And as far as application rates, 6 ounces per 1,000. So you take 6 ounces of the product and dilute that into 1 gallon of water and spray that mixture, that blend, 1 gallon blend of the liquid micronutrient and water over 1,000 square feet. So hope that helps. And there's a label that's really clear. There's instructions of how to use it, but I mean, that's pretty much it. 6 ounces, 1 gallon of water, 1,000 square feet. If you got 4,000 square feet and you got a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, 24 ounces, 4 gallons of water, 4,000 square feet. So pretty easy to apply, and there's no need to water it in after you're done. Just spray it, water it in, and you are you're done. All right, next up is John Smith. He says, as a follow-up to last week to oxtails, I couldn't find that meat to be paired with the callaloo. I got you. That's okay. It's okay, John. I mean, I just figured if you're doing callaloo, you gotta, you have oxtail as well to go along with it. But I mean, it's cool. It's it's legit. I mean, if you're cooking callaloo, that's a very like most, even people that go and eat like food in Caribbean restaurants, a lot of times they don't have that. They may have saltfish, you'll have roti, you have maybe get curry goat. But as far as callaloo, because of what's involved in making it, and it's one of these things, unless you grew up eating it, is not like something that a person like the uninitiated would be drawn to. Is why you don't really find it. I found that Trinidadian restaurants tend to carry it because it's a thing. And that's where my mom's from. My mom is from Trinidad, so that's why I like roti and callaloo, and all the things, all Caribbean food other than fish. I don't really care for fish, and I know it's a negative mark on my island man card, but it is what it is. All right, next up is Devin. Devin's in the live stream. What's going on, sir? Hopefully you're doing well. He says, what's up, Ron? Looking forward to some good turf talk. Finally getting some rain here today. Second storm of the summer. Dude, that's awesome. It seems like, we have suffered, the country collectively as a whole has suffered from, drought conditions. And now, we're getting plenty of rain. Southeast, we're getting tons of rain. Sounds like you out in Colorado, it's getting lots of rain too, which is good. And the lawns are doing better for it. So it's good stuff. Really, really cool that that you are also getting some rainfall. Next up is T Morrissey tuning in from Instagram. He says, "Hey Ron, I was wondering if I could pair the carbon kit with the Lebanon Country Club fertilizer. Not only can you pair it, I recommend it. Highly recommend it, T Morrissey. I did it this afternoon. So if you're asking, could you pair, we'll go over here to shop and Fawn Lawn Fertilizer. If you're talking about like the Humic Max or any of these, if you can apply any of these fertilizers that we carry and pair that with a carbon kit, absolutely. There's no problem doing that whatsoever. Again, the thing that I'd recommend is that you apply it at the rates that we call for. So the rates that you see here. So if you go in, for example, into Humic Max and then you scroll down on how to use, you'll see there are rates on the label, spreader settings, and then there are also ones that we have here for spreaders that are not on the label. And these settings are going to have you putting out half a pound of nitrogen per 1,000. That's what it'll have you doing. So at relatively low application rates, and that's true for all of them. So if you went with like the complete 14714, same thing. If you go to the how to use section, these calibrations are for half a pound of nitrogen per 1,000. What that does is it still leaves you a bit of headroom that if you want to spoon feed your lawn, so you're going to use a combination of granular and liquid fertilizer, you've still got plenty of room to spray liquids at low rates and not overdo it as far as inputs to your lawn. So if you're going to be doing, any of the granular fertilizers that we carry, the Lebanon fertilizers, and you're doing the carbon kit at the rates that I recommend or that are in the descriptions, you're ending up right at 7/10, between 0.7 and 0.8 pounds of nitrogen going in your lawn, which is plenty for most lawns, in my opinion. And given that you're also pairing that with the biostimulants that are in the carbon kit and also in the Lebanon fertilizers, that's really all you need to get a good result. Really, in my opinion, when it comes to feeding your lawn, you really don't want to overdo it. Like, you want to give the lawn enough to grow, to thrive, to look good, but don't overdo it. There's no reason, anytime I get emails or I read comments on my YouTube channel where people are saying, "Hey, I really want to push a lot of growth. I'm going to go like 1.5 pounds of nitrogen." And I'm like, you can do that, but in my opinion, like, you are, you're not doing it. You're not taking an approach that really is plays in well to the long game. You know what I mean? It's better to focus on creating really good soil, using compost products, using biostimulants, and then use fertilizer. You'll be able to use less of it and still get an amazing looking lawn. I mean, if you look at my back lawn, like what I'm telling you guys is what I do on my lawn. What you're seeing there, that lawn hasn't seen a pound of nitrogen in a month, and I can't tell you how long. It literally gets 7 to 8 tenths a pound, and that's all it really needs to look great. You really don't have to overdo it. So if you're going to be doing the Country Club fertilizer along with the carbon kit, that will work absolutely fine. I have a blog post which I'll find for you here on spoon feeding, on spoon feeding your lawn, and I'll link it for you here in the chat. That provides rates for Humic Max and Release 901C, I believe. I believe that's correct. I haven't read the blog post in a while, but I believe that is accurate. So at T Morrissey, here you go. Actually, I'll just post it here in the chat. T Morrissey, but also link all for you guys as well here that are on YouTube. Yeah, so that blog post, and for those of you guys here on YouTube and Facebook, that blog post covers spoon feeding. So, and again, if you decide to not use, and when it comes to carbon kit, you have a couple of different options. You could use the 901C carbon kit, which just gets you one less thing to have to get. If you decide to go with the Release 0 carbon kit, you could then stack with that our new liquid fertilizer, the 22-3, because remember, Release 0 doesn't have any N in it, doesn't have any nitrogen. So this guy would be 6 ounces per 1,000. So it really depends on you. You can mix and match pretty much whatever you see here on the main page, on the front, on page 1 of our lawn fertilizer section, assuming you're on a desktop. All of these can be used in various combinations, and they all play nicely together, which is why I made sure that they are all easy to find. So all of these have been tested in various combinations by myself, by others, and it works great. They all mix nicely. There's no issue at all with doing that. So hope that helps you, Morrissey. Have fun. Enjoy your lawn. Don't forget to mow it with everything you're putting into it, because mowing is the thing that brings it all together and makes it look awesome. All right, LG's in the house. All right, LG, we'll take that. And then we got Mr. Higgy Pop saying, happy weekend, everyone. Let's all hit the like button. It is free. Truer words have never been spoken. Like button is free. Let's see here. Dr. D says, my pH is 5.7. My phosphorus and potassium are low. Would you recommend Carbon Pro G and Carbon Pro L? Yeah, Carbon Pro G, excellent product. Carbon Pro L, also good product. I used to use it many, many years ago. The Carbon Kit, in my opinion, is better than Carbon Pro L. And as far as addressing your pH, while Carbon Pro G is the best, I want to make sure I use the right terminology. Miramichi calls it a pH optimizer, meaning it will try and draw your pH towards the mid sixes. A way to accelerate that really is to do a lime application. So if you're at 5.7, you're on the lower end of the acceptable range. So if like say 5.8, 7.2 that's like the range of where you want to be in. So mid sixes is if you could say perfect, is really like where you really want to be. So a lime application is what I would say to do, Dr. D, would be better. As far as low phosphorus and potassium, your better bet versus using Carbon Pro G or L to raise that is to use an actual fertilizer with those macros. So, if you want an option from the Golf Course Lawn Store, our complete 14-7-14, which has some phosphorus and has some potassium and nitrogen in it, so it's a complete feeding program, like that would be a good fertilizer to use along with Carbon Pro G and Carbon Pro L to be able to bring those levels up. But I would highly recommend that you also consider doing a lime application as part of that. Now, when it comes to choosing lime, you have two major flavors. There's calcitic lime and dolomitic lime. And based on your soil test results, if your magnesium is low, then you'll want to try and find a dolomitic lime. If your magnesium levels are optimal, then you could go with calcitic, because dolomitic lime tends to contain more magnesium than calcitic does. So you really can't go wrong with either of them. But if your magnesium is low, why not also correct that along with your pH, which is what a dolomitic lime will do for you. So the way to remember it is pretty simple. Like D is closer to M in the alphabet than C is. So like D is closer to M than C. So if the magnesium is low, go with the lime that's closer to it, which is the dolomitic lime. If the magnesium is fine, then go with the lime that's further away from it, which is the C, calcitic lime. So hopefully that helps. For some people, that's how I remember it. That may or may not be useful to you. If not, you can figure out some other way to make an association so you can remember it. So hope that helps, sir. Next up, we have a super chat. This one is from Mr. Rashid Turner. I think so. Thank you so much.
Super chat received.
He says, Ron, I am convinced I want the Revolution 26. If you want to offload your 1600 and an AR-15, let me know. LOL. No, my 60. I still use all my mowers. I use them. I need all three of them. So the Swiss Army knife, the 1600 is what I use to mow the front lawn, sometimes the back lawn, depending on how I'm feeling. And then the Revolution is for all those in-between areas. So no, I can't part with my 1600. Sorry, not gonna be able to do that. Revolution 26 though, great option, especially for what you pay. Great choice. You will not regret it, Rashid. So hope that helps. Hope that helps, sir. All right. Next up, we have, where do we leave off? It's the worst part. Next up, we got Dalvin in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, worst growing season ever." LOL, joking. So I keep getting leaf spot in the area every year, multiple times a year. Do I do a fungicide? But you do fungicide, but it always returns. If I wait long enough, do you know what causes this? No, I'm not. I don't, Dalvin. So when you're applying, are you using the same fungicide over and over, or are you ever rotating to a different one? And is it, let me see what you said here. Every year it comes back. Is it always the same area or different parts of the lawn? Those are some some things that I'd want to know. I know you're in the academy, so if you want to like post like pictures of it and just provide more detail there, we can all kind of mind meld and solve it together. But you should not have to apply fungicides like all the time for this. So we have to dig into it a bit more as to why this is happening. And before I can give you a good answer. But you should not have to keep blasting along with fungicides is what I'm trying to tell you. So again, in my opinion, May, June, like a good preventative then is really what you need to carry you throughout most of the season. And if you live in if you've ever had to deal with spring dead spot, then a fall fungicide application is also beneficial. So hope that helps, sir. Sorry you're still dealing with that, but yeah, we can dig into it and see if we can figure out what the issue is. One thing I would tell you is that if you are applying fungicide, you really don't want to apply the same one more than twice in a row without changing groups. So whenever folks have, like for example, we have one academy member that is in Central America, and they get like a ton of rain there, and he's always fighting disease problems in his lawn. So he will use like a fungicide like Pillar SC, so like a group 3 and 11 fungicide, and then he'll rotate to a group 1. So I think 336F Claries is what he goes to. So he just kind of alternates back and forth because he has to use it more often given the amount of rainfall that he gets. And I think he has zoysia, so he always is having disease issues. But in your case, make sure that if you are having to use fungicides, you're not using the same one like over and over and over. You want to rotate back and forth. And again, if we're in the academy, just post in the Facebook group and we'll figure something out for you. All right, next up is Sabrina Cruz. She says, "Hi Ron from Sacramento. Suggestions to eradicate bunching tall fescue in a Bermuda lawn, please and thank you." I would use just a selective herbicide that is safe for Bermuda. So like, well, you're in Sacramento, so you can't get Celsius. Certainty will probably take out fescue as well, I would think. I would say Celsius, but you're not going to be able to get that in California anymore, I don't believe. So look into certainty. Certainty is absolutely not safe for cool season grasses. If you spray it on ryegrass, fescue, KBG, it will damage and or kill them. So given that you're in California, that is what I would I'd push you towards something that given I don't know what kind of temperatures you're dealing with there, but one that the nice thing with certainty is it doesn't really have any label temperature restrictions. So as long as you're able to spray it this time of year when it's really hot, with little chance of injuring your Bermuda grass. And again, fescue is not going to tolerate it at all. So depending on how established a fescue is, it may take more than one app, but that is what I would go with. You need something that is selective, that is safe only for warm season turf grass, but not safe for cool season grass. Celsius would be a good option, but you can't really get that there. Or certainty is what I would say. So in your case, give certainty a shot. So I'll send you a link to where you can pick that up if you so desire, and keep us posted as far as how it does. All right. Next up, we have B-Law 16 says, "How do I get rid of Bahia in my Bermuda lawn?" Celsius. Celsius will do that because Celsius is a magic herbicide. It's if I could have one, I think I've said this before in a YouTube video before. If I could have one herbicide for warm season turf grass, it would be Celsius. It's an excellent product, and it is safe for all warm season turf grasses other than Bahia. So you can spray this on St. Augustine, zoysia, Bermuda, centipede, but you can't spray it on Bahia grass. It'll injure and or kill Bahia grass. So that is what I would use because Bermuda will tolerate it just fine. Bahia grass will not. So in your case, B-Law, Celsius is what I would say. So I'll send you a link to where you can pick that up. If you need anything else, do let me know. All right. You know what? Someone else is going to have that question, so we will make a note of it. All right, B-Law 16. All right, moving on. Tutrilla says, "Hey Ron, and happy Friday, everyone." Tutrilla, hopefully you were here. I showed everyone your lawn as far as how it went from, struggling as far as warm season grass goes, from like lack of rain to thriving when we got that little piece of rain. So I can show everyone one more time. Why not? We got time. So this is you drought before, and then After, so before, no rain, after rain, and then next we have no rain, and then rain. No rain, rain. No rain, rain. So rain makes a big difference. So even with grasses like Bermuda, which tolerate it pretty well. Thanks so much for sending the pictures in, sir. We got Vahid Navi saying, hello, happy Friday. What's going on, Vahid? Hopefully you're doing all right, sir. Thank you for taking some time to hang out in the live stream this evening. And the next up is Tholman Fiska says, when should I top dress fescue in Sweden? So here's the thing, the challenge, when you say top dress, if you're talking about like lightly spreading a compost, that would be okay. And doing that in, I mean, Sweden, I'm sure your temperatures, I'm sure you're still in summertime now, but doing that in the early fall would be a good idea. The thing you're going to want to keep in mind with fescue is that you're not going to want to approach top dressing it the way like how we do like lawn leveling work with our warm season grasses. If you have like tall fescue and it's 3-4 inches tall, you're really going to want to have some way of like broadcasting the top dressing material. Taking the approach of like taking a wheelbarrow and then dumping it out, and then taking a leveling rake or a lawn lute, I think they call them, is what they call it over in Europe, and using that to spread is not going to work that well on taller grass. That's really a short grass thing. So if you can get a machine like here in Georgia or in the US, there's a company called I think they call it Eco, but there's like Eco makes these machines that are like compost spreaders. So you has like a big bucket. You fill it with the compost, and as you walk over the lawn, it like broadcasts, it spreads it out, which would be in my opinion, that would be the ideal way to do it on a fescue lawn, because you're not like having areas where you like dumping big piles of material out that you now got to work into this really thick and heavy canopy, if that makes sense. But as far as time frame, springtime, spring, early spring, or early fall for cool season grasses is typically when you want to do that. And like the same advice I would give to someone with a warm season grass here in the States is go light. Don't get out there and try and put down an inch of material, because you're just going to create a bunch of work for yourself. It's going to be a nightmare to spread it. The big thing is best bet is if you can find a machine to throw the material out, or if you get a shovel, here's another way you could do it too. So you have a wheelbarrow, if you have like a shovel, take the shovel and you can like throw the material, like you can cast it over the lawn. That would be a way of doing it as well too, because that throwing it with a shovel, it tends to spread or like spread out in the air and not build up and have big piles. That would be a way to do it too. It's more work, but if you don't have a machine to rent, like getting a shovel and then like casting the material on the lawn is a good way to go. The thing I would really encourage you to avoid is taking a wheelbarrow of material, dumping it out on the lawn, and then trying to spread that on a fescue lawn. That's going to be a lot of work. I really would not do that. So hope that helps. Appreciate you being a viewer all the way from Sweden. And if you need anything else, let me know. Keep me posted as far as how it goes. All right, we got Jim Schmid in the house. He says, hey, Ron, at a stage that I'm considering a height of cut reset. Are you now? He says, purchase a Sunjoe scarifier. Should I sharpen the blades as they seem dull out of the box? And would you recommend a reset before a scarify, or vice versa? Doesn't really matter, Jim. If you're going to do a height of cut reset, if it were me, I would get the lawn to the height you want it to be. Let me think about this. Yeah, I mean, if you scarify before doing the height of cut reset, you're creating a lot of work for yourself. So either way, you could do the height of cut reset first, scarify, and then do a cleanup cut afterwards. Like, so you end up mowing the lawn twice. But if it were me, I'm trying to think on my lawn, if my lawn were an 1.25 inches and I want to take it down to 3/4 of an inch, I would not scarify the lawn at 1.25 inches. I would do the height of cut reset, I would scarify, and then I would just do a cleanup cut so it doesn't look like terrible afterwards. So to answer your question, I would reduce the height of cut before I scarified. And then as far as the blades being sharp out of the box, they really, here, keep in mind, it doesn't take much. I mean, I have not heard of anyone using a Sunjoe straight out of the box and having a negative result with doing that. So, I mean, if you have the time and you want to sharpen it, I guess you could, but I don't know that it's really necessary. So the big thing, Jim, and this is for anybody that's considering this, if you're doing verticutting or turf raking / scarifying, you're always going to want to finish up with a cleanup cut, in my opinion, because when you verticut or you turf rake / scarify, it tends to stand the grass up. And even if the lawn were mowed before, it's going to look a bit uneven when you're done with this process. If you want it to look really nice, have that manicured look once you're done with verticutting or scarifying, you're going to want to do a mow afterwards. The nice thing is if you do this way, so you do the hide to cut reset, then you scarify, and then you mow, the material that comes off in that last cut, that last little cleanup cut, really shouldn't be a whole lot, because you're going to be taking the bulk of the material out whenever you do the hide to cut reset. Then you scarify it. That's going to take material out to you, which you're going to pick up. And then the cleanup cut is really just for appearances. Not strictly necessary, but I think I like the way the lawn looks after a mow, after doing a verticut or scarify. So hope that helps, sir. I don't know that I would go through the headache of sharpening the blades on the Sunjo. It just seems like a little extra work for no good reason. But if you want to do it, you got the time, go for it. Not going to hurt anything. All right, so next up we have, hang on, let me get down here. We have another super chat. This one is from Mr. Jared George. Thank you so much, Jared.
Super chat received.
He's meant to include, this is my chat message I just sent. Thanks for all you do, Ron. Hope you like my leveling update. You sent me a lawn leveling update. Here's the thing, Jared. You know, you scare me sometimes whenever you send me, lawn leveling stuff, or because I feel like you're one of these guys that's always going to go his own way. You know what I mean? Like I say, hey, Jared, go light. And you're going to get out there, you're going to have all the material, and you're going to be like, YOLO, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go heavy. I'm going to do it one time. I'm going to go hard. So hopefully we'll see what you sent here. Yeah, it's a bunch of pictures. I might be able to get some of these on the live stream because time. I do appreciate it. But here's the thing, guys. Also, if you want to improve the chances of your pictures getting onto the show, please, with a cherry on top, with a tall glass of Chick-fil-A lemonade with no ice, which is really the only appropriate way to have it, please send the pictures before the live stream, because it makes it a lot easier for me to get them on the show. But yeah, we'll see if we can make this happen. And all right, so I'll show you guys some of the pictures that Jared sent. So this, see, you didn't really give me the sequencing, but anyway, I'll post them in the order that you attached them to the email. And hopefully the order's right. We'll see. This is what you get for not doing it before the show. All right. So here we go. All right. So this was, as you can imagine, May of 2024. I think the lawn looks, not bad. Not bad. And then next, it looks like you are taking the lawn down to do, or is this after you leveled? Yeah, I'm not sure if that's sand or if this is just you scalping the lawn. Hard to say. Yeah, this looks like sand. This looks like material. Yeah, so it looks like here you're putting out leveling material. And then, because these are the last pictures in your email, I imagine this is how it looks today, which is quite nice. Looks like it's still growing in, but nice work. It looks like it is still coming in nicely. It looks like it is still coming in nicely. Yeah, this looks like it's just there's still sand there. Yeah, so overall, not bad, man. And I've never seen the lawn from this angle. Normally, the pictures that you send, you're normally on the stairs taking the picture out. So it's nice to see how the entire lawn looks. But cool, man. Keep going. You still got plenty of time this season for it to recover. So just keep mowing it and feeding it, and it should look good. It should look good. So yeah, so I got the pictures up there. Again, if you want to send some more pictures, if you really want to be a boss, what you do is you send me pictures and have them like annotated. So it's easy for me to walk through and show folks exactly what it is. So that way I'm not having to figure out like what I'm looking at, because you know your lawn better than I know your lawn, right? All right, so we'll move on now. Thank you so much again for the super chat, Jared. I really do appreciate it. And then next we have Devin. He is back. He says, I forgot to mention that I took my GM 1000 to work today and had our mechanic grind my reel and bed knife, plus give the mower a full service. The cut this afternoon was awesome. Man, it definitely perks of the job, right? You're able to, you have no excuse for your mower never being sharp, right? You got access to a full shop and someone that does nothing but work on mowers for a living. So yeah, you have no excuse for not having a great cut, Devin, which is pretty awesome. And it is true, man. You're right. That first cut after a fresh sharpener grind, it's like, you can tell like the note of the engine doesn't even change when you're mowing because the mower is so sharp. It's like not even laboring at all to cut the grass. It's like just it's like just cutting the grass and just dicing it. It's a thing of beauty. And if you ever cut a lawn with a brand new reel mower or a freshly sharpened reel mower, you know what I'm talking about. Like sitting there just mowing, and it's like it's like the engine's not even working at all because the equipment is so sharp. So it's an awesome thing. Awesome thing. All right, next up is Larry. He says, okay, Ron, should I still put fertilizer on and possibly some soil loosener? I don't know, man. I really wouldn't push fertilizer on the lawn given how it's currently looking. If you want to put out like compost or a biostimulant, that would be okay. But I really wouldn't try and push a bunch of growth right now. With you getting the irrigation fixed, I would make sure the lawn is getting regular water, like to help start speeding up this recovery. And the thing you should see here, Larry, is while it looks kind of rough now, and I get it, you know, you're probably heartbroken saying, oh, my lawn used to look so pretty, and now it doesn't look as pretty as it used to look, is over the next four weeks or so, it's going to start cooling off a bit and your lawn will start coming back. So don't give up, keep mowing it, keep putting water on it, keep watering it. Don't go crazy overboard with the watering, but just keep up, stay the course. And this fall, you're going to see it bounce back. It will come back in. So I wouldn't throw in the towel for the season at all. I know it looks rough right now, but you're going to be fine, when we get into late August timeframe, once temps are a little bit cooler and just the grass isn't being cooked. You know what I mean? So stick with it. It will get better. All right. Next up is Emmanuel. Emmanuel Jacobs says, hello, Ron. I have Bermuda in South Texas. I did my soil test and my NPK are all low. Scalped in preparation for an aeration. See, I like this. He did scalp and he's going to aerate. I already like, I don't know what the rest of the question is, but I already like so far what I'm reading. I purchased a 1010 quick release. Did I mess up and buy the wrong fert? Nope, not at all. I mean, if your NPK are all low, that has all three of them. And you did a scalp, you aerated. So now when you put the fertilizer out, it's going to get into the soil profile a bit faster. No negative to that at all. Should be just fine. I mean, just make sure you apply it at the rates on the label, water it in, and you should be good to go, man. Yeah, you didn't mess up at all. Very nice. All right, so showing some more pictures. We got some from a viewer, Arvin, I believe. And so Arvin did it's a zoysia. I think it's a what grass seed exactly it was, but it was a zoysia grass seed. He didn't tell me which one it is, or I'm just a bad reader. It's Zenith zoysia. Yeah, so he was trying to grow Zenith zoysia from grass seed. He started earlier this year and did a full renovation, and he wanted to share the pictures to show you guys the project. And here's the thing, for zoysia, this is actually really good progress because zoysia grows really slowly. So this is day one. You can see him doing all the prep work. You can see how all the work he's doing on getting the lawn to come in. And I got to tell you, when it comes to this type of thing, when it comes to laying new sod and doing a seeding project, the preparation, like how much work you put into the preparation, really makes a big difference in the results you got. It looks to me, he didn't go into detail, but it looks to me like you spread some kind of a nice compost because that soil looks nice and rich, which is exactly what you want whenever you are getting ready to do a seeding project. So this is what he was starting with. And then this is how it looks today. Pretty big difference, right? I mean, not bad. Not bad at all. And again, for zoysia, that's really good for one season, for growing season, not even all over yet, to go from that to that in a season. That's pretty awesome, man. I mean, you can see some areas where it's still growing in. It's not completely filled in, but still, I mean, for zoysia, awesome work. And again, the preparation work that you did leading up to putting the seed out played a huge part in you getting the results that you got. All the work you put into that is really showing in the fact that, we're a few months later, you have a stand of grass, especially a zoysia lawn, that looks that good. So great work. Keep it up. Mow it, feed it, and keep going. Great stuff. Love to see that. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Darmarculus Thompson. He says, greetings, Ron and Stripe Action crew. The manual reel mower is floating. Please help. It's not an uncommon thing this time of year, Darmarculus. So if you have been reel mowing all season and you haven't done anything at all to thin out the lawn throughout the entire season, especially given that a manual reel mower tends to be a bit lighter, it is a lot more susceptible to riding on the top of the lawn. You know what I mean? Not really, not cutting as true as say a a power drill mower, a mower with a bit more weight. So what you can do is you can do a high to cut reset. A couple of things, and this is in order of things that are going to be the least visually impactful to the most visually impactful. Least visually impactful would be to verticut. So if you verticut, you go light, it's going to, you will be able to tell the lawn has been thinned out some, but for the most part, it's not going to lose too much color in that process. If you want to see, you can, like the results you can get from verticutting, you can look at all the shorts that I've done over the course of the season after I've verticut my lawn. And while you can see the lines, you're not going to, it's not like the next option. So verticutting is the least visually impactful way of thinning out your lawn. Next up would be to do a height of cut reset, which is taking your, say you're cutting your lawn at 1.25 inches with your row mower, resetting the height of cut down to, 3/4 of an inch, 5/8, and then letting the lawn grow back in. That is going to make the lawn look ugly. Like when you do that, you're going to be cutting a lot of the green off. There's going to be a lot of brown spots throughout the lawn because you're basically scalping it. This time of year, that's going to be a 2-week or so affair from the time you scalp it to where it's starting to look good again. 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the amount of rainfall and sunlight that you're getting. And then that's going to restore or improve the quality of cut. So yeah, that's what I would tell you, DeMarculis. What you're experiencing, especially given we're into late July, not uncommon for a lawn that hasn't been thinned out. So hope that helps, sir. Consider a height of cut reset or a verticut. The negative to a verticut is that you actually have to get some equipment to do it. You can't do it with your regular mower, but it's from a visual standpoint, it makes the lawn look less ugly versus doing a height of cut reset. So hope that helps. Okay, next up is Junior Cortez. He says, I want to know what the best solution is for getting rid of Dallas grass. Okay, so the best solution for getting rid of Dallas grass on a residential lawn, Julian Junior, is to dig it out, to just physically remove it. There isn't a good selective herbicide that is labeled for use on residential lawns that will really control Dallas grass. I mean, Tribute Total does a pretty good job like knocking it back, but like the herbicide that really does a really good job on Dallas grass, that as far as like if you want to control Dallas grass on a residential lawn, this is the stuff you use, is no longer labeled for use on residential lawns. So your best bet is just to physically remove it. Pretty much any herbicide that you're going to come across is going to have Dallas grass in the label. There's going to be an asterisk next to it. There's going to be like suppression or when mixed with this other herbicide that you're not supposed to be using on your residential lawn anymore. So your best bet is just to take the time over a few weeks, take an hour in the evening whenever you have time to do it, and just physically remove it. That's going to be your best bet to get rid of Dallas grass in a residential lawn. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but I don't want you to go out there and spend a bunch of money and be frustrated and ultimately not get a good result. So Dallas grass is a nasty one, unfortunately. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Jimmy Miller. Jimmy Miller's in the live stream. He says, evening, Ron. Earlier this evening, I sent you 2 emails. One was regarding my front lawn where I had a stump removed, and the second one titled Nuts was full of hickory nuts. Do I have an email from you, Jimmy? I don't know. I may have missed it. Let me look really quickly here. See if I can find one of them. Okay, the one with hickory nuts. I see that one. Okay. But I don't see the one with the tree removed. Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing, Jimmy. I will look for them when the show's over, and I may have to punt until next week because I don't see the other one with showing, I guess, what you're trying to show about the tree you had removed or stump you had removed in your lawn. Was there a question that you had about it, or was it just you wanted to show the pictures? But at any rate, I mean, you can send them again really quickly if you can. But worst case, I will, when the show's over tonight, I will find them and then create my folder for next week and add your pictures to it. So I'll be good to go to have that. All right, next up is Aesthetic Lawn. He says, hey, Ron, I sent my Zeta Zoysia seeding renovation project via email. Hope you can check it out. Thanks for all the tips and videos. Yeah, so your pictures, I think, Aesthetic Lawn, you're Arvin, right? You're this person. I'm pretty sure that's what your email was. So yeah, this is your Zeta Zoysia renovation project. Yeah, so I think I showed everyone here earlier on the live stream what you're working with, your prep work, and then the results you got from all of your hard work. So I did receive that. I believe you're the same person. So I hopefully if not, hopefully there's not another person that did this Zenith Swisher renovation that I happen to show the pictures for. So I believe that's you. Great work. Keep going. Mow it and feed it. All right. Next up is Coach McDonald. It says, working on raising my pH currently, but my micronutrients are also a tad low. Is there a good granular micronutrient that has a little bit of everything? Yeah. So, I mean, for if you want like all your micronutrients, like your boron, copper, molybdenum, zinc, manganese, magnesium, then liquid is really what I'd recommend. What you can also find, Coach McDonald, is if you go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, both the complete 14714 and the 12024 have I'll look here really quick. They all have iron in them, but if we look at the analysis, yes, you've got some iron, some magnesium, and some manganese and some magnesium in it. But if you want everything, then if we look at the micronutrient product, it's a liquid product, but again, I highly recommend it. One couple of reasons why I like the micronutrient option better is thing one, it's not as sensitive to your pH because you're getting it into the plant via foliar versus putting it in the soil. And then you're gonna see a response a lot faster as well too. So this has everything. So as far as analysis, you've got your boron, copper, iron, manganese, molybdenum, zinc. It's got everything in there, all your micros. So this is what I'd highly recommend if you're in search of a micronutrient, especially on a lawn where the soil, where your pH is not optimal, right? Because this way you're still able to get the micronutrients into the plant, despite pH not being where it should be. So hope that helps, sir. I'll get this here to you in the chat at Coach. Assuming you're still here, maybe you're not. You're at Coach McDonald. That's the micronutrient that I'd recommend to go with. And then to get your pH up, you probably already know this. You're already working on raising your pH. Yeah, so you're good to go. So cool. Hope that helps. All right. Rashid Turner says, I fought dog urine and digging, grubs, rabbits, and ants. You've dealt with it all this year. It's been a rough year for you. I am now 3K in product and material, and I'm beat. Next year, Zion are you using against Xeon? Xeon to replace this Bermuda, and I'm looking forward to purchasing Revolution 26. So you're getting rid of Bermuda and going to Zoysia. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like fun. And next up, we have Rich 70. He says, cheers, gang. Ron, I've been using azoxystrobin propiconazole mix as my fungicide. Is Clary's a good option to rotate in, or should I go with Pillar? Thanks. Yeah, I would go with Clary's because azoxystrobin and propiconazole are groups 3 and 11 fungicides, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's correct. The fungicides that are in Pillar are, I think it's triticonazole and pyraclostrobin. So they're similar to azoxystrobin and propiconazole. They're different fungicides, but they're in the same families. So if you're using azoxystrobin and propiconazole, rotating to Clary's, which is a group 1 fungicide, is a good plan. That is what I would do. I would not, in other words, if you went to Pillar, you're doing different fungicides, but they're the same family, which is not what we want. We want to get to a different group, and then you can go back to Pillar SC if you so desire. So I hope that helps, Rich. It's a good question, and if you need anything else, let me know. And yeah, sounds like a plan. Sorry you're having to deal with disease problems in your lawn, but hey, such is life. Maestro says saltfish. You listen to Kitchener? I think it's a song. Is it Kitchener that has a song? It's like saltfish, sweet. Although I think he's talking about something else. But anyway, there's a song. I think it's Kitchener has the song called Saltfish. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyone that's Trinidadian will be able to tell me if I'm right or not. But I think I want to say it's Lord Kitchener. I want to say that, but we'll see. Look it up. When you guys are online right now, you can look it up and see. I think he has a song called Saltfish. Not my favorite, but again, I know I'm in the minority on that. All right, next up, Jim Schmid is saying, using your 22-3 every 2 weeks, do you recommend not using any chelated iron at all? You really shouldn't need to, Jim. You shouldn't need to. If you're using the 22-3, it's got iron in it. If you want a boost of iron on top of that, like a 2% iron product, I would say the micronutrient would be good. But you are not. There's no need to stack yet another iron product on top of it. These what is in both the 22-3 and in the micronutrients, your iron is already chelated. There's no need to get like a separate iron product. So either use the 22-3 by itself, which is fine, or use, I'm sitting here talking, I can show you, or use this, which has 2% iron in it as well. So this would be your option. If you want even more, go with this. The one thing I would tell you is if you are going to be mixing these two, so we're going to go off script a little bit here. By itself, 6 ounces per 1,000. By itself, 6 ounces per 1,000. If you're using them together, I would still apply the 22-3 at 6 ounces per 1,000, but I would back the rate on the micronutrient down to say 3 or 4 ounces per 1,000. Reason being is that the 22-3 already has some iron in it. It has some magnesium in it, has some manganese in it. So you don't have to go as heavy on the rate with the micronutrient to still get a good result. So not going to hurt anything. If you did 6 ounces and 6 ounces, you're not going to hurt anything, but the stuff's not inexpensive. So why not just get more applications out of it if you can? So if you're doing these two together, 6 ounces per 1,000 and then 3 to 4 ounces per 1,000, and that's going to produce an excellent result, Jim. So hope that helps. I really wouldn't, outside of those two, you really don't need anything else as far as like a separate iron product. You're going to be more than covered, especially if you're doing them or applying them every 2 weeks. Okay, next we have Rashid. Rashid Turner says, Ron, why do you have every reel mower? Let me know when you're looking to unload one at a discounted rate, except the True Cut. Well, the True Cut's already gone. I don't have the True Cut anymore. It's gone. And why do I have every reel mower? They all do different things. I've already explained this. The Allet is like the Swiss Army knife that can mow, it can verticut, it can turf rake, it can act as like a solid tine aerator. So it can do a bit of everything. As far as like the Swiss Army knife for the lawn that can do a bit of everything, that's what the Allet is. The Greensmaster is primarily used on the front lawn because it's a easier mower to manage than the Allet on the front yard, produces an excellent cut. And that's why I have the Greensmaster primarily for the front lawn, and also because it's amazing as far as the quality of cut it produces. And then finally, the Revolution also produces an excellent quality of cut. I could use it on the front lawn as well. What I primarily use the Allet for is between the swill area between Alex and myself, on the back lawn, along like the fence line, because the zero edge on the Revolution is better than any of the other mowers. The axles on my Greensmaster, I don't take them out because it's just too much work. I don't feel like doing it. And then the way that the railroaders are set up, the Revolution, literally the right side of the mower is like, that's your zero edge, and it does a really good job as far as getting right up to fences and cutting. So as far as having to use like a string trimmer or edger, you really don't have that much to clean up if you use the Revolution. So they all three of them have a job to do, and they all work on my lawn, and that's why I can't really get rid of any of them at this point. So sorry, Rashid. You're just gonna have to get your own Revolution, man. Stop trying to poach my mowers. Keep your eyes off my mowers. All right, Jonathan Cambrado is up next. He says, I followed your advice on lawn leveling and getting quality material. I went really light with a high quality local sand, hard work, but the lawn is nearly recovered. 901C is going down this weekend. I like it. Very nice, Jonathan. Very, very cool. Because keep in mind, you can always go again. You can always apply more material again. If you go super heavy and you get like a heavy rainstorm, then the mess that it creates is just not worth the headache of having to do all that cleanup. So I personally love what you did. The way you did is exactly how I would do it. All right, next up is Stephen Thompson. He says, Ron, the 8 yards didn't get dropped off yet, hoping next weekend so I can rent an Eco 250. Look at you, man. Baller. Look at you getting a 250. Nice. Going to be a light coat anyway, so the lawn should recover. Great. Happy Friday. So here's the only thing I'd say, Stephen. If you're going to go get an Eco 250, if you can find somehow to get a Dingo, like that would be then you're really going to be flying. Because the thing with the Eco 250, while awesome, you have to load it. So, since we're already using machinery to make our lives easier, why not get like a dingo and you can just get there and just scoop and just dump in and scoop and dump in and move it all around the lawn, and it just makes life easier. I don't know how easy it would be to find one of those, and ideally, if you're renting the Eco, you'd want to rent the Eco and the dingo from the same place if you can, because less headache as far as the logistics of taking stuff back. But if you're trying to make your life like really easy, get some piece of equipment to load the Eco 250. And then you'll be off the races, or get like a couple of buddies, and that need to work out and have them load it for you. There'd be that. But I mean, if you're doing this all by yourself, 8 yards of material is a lot of work to put out, even with the Eco. If you're loading, if you're filling the hopper yourself with a shovel, I mean, it's more work than you're signing up for. So a dingo is a good idea if you're going to be doing a lot of this yourself. So hope that helps, sir. Keep us posted. Take pictures of all the madness. You want to see it. Next up is Gavin Moore. He says, "Hey Ron, I have a deep rut about 5 to 6 inches in my lawn. Should I use a leveling mix or just dirt? We'll be covering the existing grass." Yeah, so for a 5 or 6 inch rut, you could first start out with using like fill dirt to build that up, Gavin, and then you could top dress afterwards. So you could absolutely do that. Fill dirt initially, and then use a leveling mix once you're done. And that will work just fine. You could technically use a leveling mix for all of it, but I mean, for most people, they want to save the leveling mix for like actual leveling work. So I would get some fill dirt. That's going to be cheaper to come by. Fill the rut in till you get up to where you have, I don't know, half an inch or so beneath the surface, and then go after that with your leveling material, and then you'll be good to go. If you decide to do this, be sure if you're putting the fill dirt in to compact it as you're filling in the rut. So put some in, and then like step on it, get your body weight's enough, just kind of walk on it to really pack it down, and then add some more fill dirt and keep doing that as you build it up. That's going to reduce the amount of settling you get. So that's good. So that way, when you finish, do the leveling when you're finished, you're not going to have to go back over it quite so many times to get it to look really good along with the rest of the lawn. So hope that helps, sir. And whatever caused the rut in the lawn, like if people are driving their cars on it, ask them to not do that, because filling in ruts is not fun and it's a lot of work, and hopefully it's something you only have to do one time. So, all right. Next up is the Maestro. He says, "Callaloo without saltfish is like a great lawn without nice shrubs." Okay, see, so not true, because I think, a pretty nice lawn, and I don't have a bunch of shrubs all throughout it. It's like, I would say saltfish without callaloo is just saltfish without callaloo. You could do other things other than saltfish with callaloo. You gotta act like you get like saltfish and callaloo are two things that have to go together. They don't have to go together. You're just trying to be mean. They're not even remotely the same. I mean, anyway, Farak says, "I'm in Kennesaw, Georgia." Very cool. Not that far from me. Next up is Rad 1986, and says, "On the TNX label, why is there a drastic difference in application rate for residential versus golf course rates? I have Kentucky bluegrass and I cut it around 1 inch. I'm new to the PGR game. Are you sure? You're sure that the rates are different? I mean, I have to look. I haven't looked at the TNX label in a long time, but there really shouldn't be a drastic difference. Rad, are you sure you're not looking at the rates per acre and the rates per 1,000 square feet? Because yeah, those rates are going to be drastically different, because you're talking about like the one rate per 1,000 is for 1,000 square feet, whereas for an acre is 43,500 square feet. So it should be, if you do the math, the acre rate should be approximately 43 and a half times whatever the rate per 1,000 square feet is. So that's probably what you're seeing on the label. This is what I would imagine. But again, I haven't looked at a TNX label in a while, but I think that's probably what you're looking at. All right. Next up is No Name. He says, "Hey Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts, looking forward to some great lawn chat. My lawn is finally no longer thirsty. Let's get those likes up." Yeah, man, all this rain, right? Rain makes a big difference. Next, we got Felipe Mateo says, "Hi Ron, last year I moved to San Antonio and I've been dealing with crabgrass on my Bermuda. Can you recommend a good product?" I can, Philippe. So if you have Bermuda and you have crabgrass in Bermuda, the herbicide that I'd recommend is a product called quinclorac. If all you care about is crabgrass, quinclorac is going to be your jam. So if you go to shop and then weed killer and you scroll down, you will find this quinclorac 25DF. This is what I'd recommend. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get the kit because it includes surfactant and dye. I mean, at a minimum, you need surfactant. Dye is kind of optional, but you definitely want to get surfactant when you're using it with quinclorac for the absolute best results when controlling crabgrass, especially this time of year, because crabgrass, while quinclorac is a great product for controlling crabgrass, it really works better against younger crabgrass. And this, we're far enough into the season that any crabgrass you have in July is probably going to be more on the mature side. So, you using surfactant with it is going to be that much more important. So, quinclorac, what I just linked to you in the chat is what I would go with. Be sure to use surfactant with it, and that should produce a good result for you as far as cleaning up the crabgrass in your Bermuda lawn. Hope that helps. Off-Road NV says, "Hi Ron, I tried to get my son a birthday golf day at Flying Horse or Devon Works. I want to check out the grass. It's a private course. I tried to name drop. Yeah, so I think what Devon said is, when he's been on the live stream, is if you stay there as a guest, then I think you can play. I think so. I think that's what he told me. So yeah, you can either join, which is kind of an expensive way. Maybe you really love your son, you really want him to meet Devon, but again, joining the course would be a way to do that. Or I believe if you stay at the facility, at the resort, then while you're a guest there, then you get an option to play on the course. But again, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Devon, if I'm wrong, you can say no, wrong, you're crazy. Stop telling people that they're not gonna be able to touch my grass, and yeah, but I believe that's correct. If you can, if you stay there, you'll be able to play there, and then go see the grass and touch it. All right. Next up, we have moving on. We got Jimmy Miller. This is one thing I've noticed in the videos of your lawn is that your lawn and mine have something in common: juniper. How much of a problem does that represent when using a reel mower? Not much. I just cut it back. I every now and then I'll get out there with the trimmer, my power tool, and I'll just put the either rotary scissors on, or even like the stick edger, believe it or not, will do a decent job. And I also have the shrub tool, and that will makes quick work of cutting that back. Really, I only have to do it like once a year, and that works fairly well. It's only at this point there's only one side of the lawn where there's quite a few of them, and then a small area on the right side where I have some. But so it's not a ton to have to deal with, but you are right, it is a pain. You don't want to hit them with your reel mower because that's a lot thicker than grass. Your reel is not designed to cut like sticks and like, a piece of like plants that thick. So you want to cut them back. You don't want to just run over them with your reel mower, Jimmy, which you already knew this, but had to say it. Tom Hoffenkamp is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, y'all. Hope everyone is growing well. Ron and lawn enthusiasts. I'm wondering if any feel like July or August are their best lawn months. The heat is making my Yukon happy." See, I don't know about that, Tom. I'd say for me, the lawn is looking pretty good. This is video as of today. Not bad, but I still think my lawn looks its absolute best in late May going into June. Like that 3-week period of like late May into June is when it looks absolutely spectacular. It looks pretty good now, but it's not again, I look at it all the time, so I'll like see the things that are wrong with it. But I think for me, earlier in the season looks better than later in the season. But this time of year, I could see that now when you get into late July, early August, when it cools off, so to where the lawn's not drying out quite so quickly, that could also look pretty good too. So I wouldn't be surprised if your Yukon is looking nice this time of year as well. But for me, late May, early June is like so it looks really good. All right, next up is Louisiana Lifter. Says, "Hey Ron, total newbie question here. My question is after, I'm not sure. It says, I've noticed a lot of what I think is clover in my yard after raining all week here in the Northeast Louisiana. Is it too late to spray for it?" Nope, not too late to spray for it at all. The rule I would say is when it comes to using herbicides is if the plant you're trying to control is actively growing, you can use herbicide to control it. So the best thing I'd say is if the weed, obviously with the time of year when you get a little bit of rainfall, the weed you're talking about, it really begins to light off, starts growing. Then yeah, you're still got plenty of time to be able to control the weed this time of year. So no negative at all with that. The only thing you want to be cognizant of is if you're depending on the herbicide you're using, there might be temperature restrictions this time of year, given how hot it is. Most herbicides will recommend against your caution against spraying when temperatures are in excess of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So just keep that in mind. But outside of that, if the weed's actively growing, a herbicide should work well against it. Again, assuming the herbicide is labeled to control it. My personal favorite combination of herbicides to use on warm season turf grass are Celsius and Certainty, because Celsius covers pretty much broadleaf weeds, and then Certainty your sedges and a few other weeds that are more difficult to control. Some of your more grassy weeds, Certainty is pretty good at as well. So Celsius and Certainty, great combination, is what I would is what I'd recommend. All right. And if you're wondering where you can find them, I can help you out with that. You can find Celsius and or Certainty, or the kit that we carry that has both Celsius and Certainty in it, right here, Louisiana Lifter. Hope that helps. All right, next up we got John Smith. He says, I've used the Scarifier on the highest settings to verticut. However, it slices but pulls more grass out. Are those blades, these blades require sharpening to reduce dripping of the grass. You say that. Maybe Jim you're seeing the same thing Jim is saying. I know there are people that use a Sun Joe to verticut. But yeah, maybe sharpening the blades would be good. I've never sharpened the blades on my Owlet. So on my verticutter. I mean, but they're thin enough that they do a pretty good job just cutting it. So I've never actually used a Sun Joe myself. I mean, I've seen the cartridge that they use in pictures, but I've never looked at it really closely to see how thick the blades are. So maybe putting an edge on it wouldn't be a bad thing. If you're experiencing that it's more tearing, or it's behaving more like a dethatcher than a verticutter, then yeah, putting an edge on it, it's going to help it cut better, more so than tear or rip at the grass. John, might not be a bad idea. Mars B says, I'm still pulling weeds, getting ready for overseeding in the fall. Hey, enjoy the process. I mean, you're pulling weeds. You're not using herbicides to control them, which is totally an option. And then, the fall or your overseeding time is not that far away. Really, this time in next month, like late August, is when the window opens really for you to get your overseeding done. So you'll only have to put up with it for a little while longer. Mars Beads. All right, Bryant Sharp is up next. This evening, Ron, I reset my height of cut to 3/4 of an inch. Do you recommend changing the direction of cut for the rest of the season? I am currently cutting perpendicular with a TrueCut C27. Thanks. Yeah, Bryant. So good job on your height of cut reset. I recommend changing the height of cut on every mow if you can. So not just for the season, but every time you mow. So case in point, if you look at the back lawn, like today I mowed it this way. I mowed it in the direction, the stripes you're seeing now. So from the patio towards the fence, and that's the direction that I mow the lawn. The next time I mow it, it will be this way, which will be lengthwise, right? So every time I mow the lawn, I alternate back and forth, and that is what I would recommend. Not just, post height of cut reset, but literally every time you mow, change the way you're cutting the grass. You're going to get a better cut. You're going to prevent grain issues, and just overall, this is a good idea. So hope that helps, Bryant. So I would absolutely do that. So good job on the height of cut reset. The only thing I would adjust is just I wouldn't mow it on the same way for the rest of the season, if that's what you're asking. All right. Next up, we have Dalvin Larry. He says, I rotate 2 different fungicides, and yes, it's in every area. I do this 2 times. Eagle, you use Eagle, and then 14 days apart, and then Pillar SC 21 days apart. Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy that you're having that, because between Pillar and Eagle, you should be good, Dalvin. You really shouldn't. I can't see why you're still having this problem all season long. I mean, how are you watering the lawn? How are you putting too much water on it, or I'm trying to think of what really could be is really causing this issue to just be that persistent. In addition, like between mowing sessions, are you making sure that you're rinsing your equipment? Because that's one thing that's important too. If you got an active disease problem in the lawn, you want to make sure you keep the equipment clean. So maybe get it off the lawn, just run the hose on it, like wash it off really well. Like that's important. So you're not spreading it around. But yeah, based on what you're doing, I don't understand why you're still having like regular disease issues in the lawn. Interesting. Hmm. Fresh Apples says, "Hey Ron, I have an extremely steep front lawn. How can I mow it? Should I mow it? Also, what's a good pre-emergent for Poa annua and barnyard grass, and when should I apply it?" Okay, so steep front lawn. Should you mow it, or how can you mow it diagonally? Should you mow it? I don't know. Can you do so safely? I mean, if you can safely mow it, then yeah. If you can't safely mow it, then I wouldn't. So if this is your lawn, say this is a sloped lawn, we'll use the my soil test as an example. Instead of mowing straight up and down the slope, which is not going to produce a good cut, you're going to find that when you're mowing up, it's going to cut taller, and then when you're going down, it's going to cut lower, so it's just not going to look good. You're going to have like high and low stripes in the lawn. It's not going to look good. And then mowing lengthwise, what you tend to find is the side of the mower that is lower is going to cut shorter than the side of the lawn of the mower that's higher. So you get like a different problem. You get like this step terrace effect on the lawn, which doesn't look good either. What I find for mowing a slope lawn, your best bet is to mow diagonally. So if this is your slope, mow like this, mow diagonally. So if you decide to mow lengthwise, finish up with a diagonal mow, and then that's going to look good, because that way you're spreading the weight of the mower more evenly across the surface. I have found that produces the best cut. When I mow my lawn, my front lawn, like 90% of the time, I'm mowing it diagonally. If I, for some reason, decide I'm going to mow lengthwise, that means it's going to be double cut day, because I will still go back over it again and mow diagonally so that it looks good. So hope that helps with that. As far as Poa annua, what I'd recommend for that is spectacle flow. Like this is the pre-emergence you want to use on warm season turf grass if you're trying to keep Poa annua out of it. I don't know if it's labeled for barnyard grass, but for Poa in warm season turf, it doesn't really get a lot better than spectacle. Not cheap, but it's a great product. It's an awesome job against Poa annua, and magic ain't cheap. So bring your wallet if you decide you're gonna go that route. But the good thing is one of these bottles will last a really long time. I get one bottle of spectacle. I've got it here. It covers 130,000 square feet. So what is that? A little over 3 acres. So I mean, one of these will last a while. So what you could do is you get a bottle and you can find maybe someone else that wants some, and you guys could split it. You could go in on it. That's an option. But if you're really looking for what I consider to be the best fall pre-emergent for warm season turf grass, it's really tough to beat this. It's what I use on my lawn. It's what I'm going to be using in a month and a few weeks. So maybe 5-6 weeks from now, this is going to be going down on the back lawn, Fresh Apples. So hope that helps. You can get spectacle here. Have any other questions, do let me know. All right, Anthony Velez 777 says, "Got a question. I got a very uneven lawn and I want to cut low, but I can't with my rotary mower because it scalps bad. Will a push wheel mower work better and not scalp?" Yes, so a push wheel mower is going to allow you to mow at the same height or even a little bit lower than your rotary with less chances for scalping than your rotary mower is going to have. If you want to go even lower, what you're eventually going to find is that you're going to have to do some kind of leveling to be able to get the lawn, get the bumps and undulations, little dips out to where you're able to mow lower without scalping. But given the same height of cut, a push wheel mower is going to produce a better cut, a more even, and more manicured cut than a rotary mower. And in most cases, you're going to be able to mow the lawn shorter or lower with a push wheel mower than you will with a powered rotary mower. So hope that helps, Anthony. If you need any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But yeah, and here's what I would say: unless you're someone that's like just wants always the exercise of just using a manual push mower, look at a manual push mower as like training wheels to be able to see if real mowing your lawn is really for you. Like just the time commitment of having to be out there regularly mowing it. If that is you're using that as a time to see if it's something that you really want to want to continue doing. If it is, then what I would say is you would then want to graduate to a powered reel mower. You know what I mean? So start with a push reel mower, mow a few times per week, because that's really what it's going to take to look its absolute best. And then you can go from a push reel mower to a powered reel mower, and then the sky's the limit. So in other words, going from a rotary mower to a powered rotary mower to a push reel mower is going to be one order of magnitude better. And then when you go from a push reel mower to a powered reel mower, it's a bigger difference than what you're going to see from like a rotary mower to a push reel mower. It's like another order of magnitude, another order of awesome. So I would highly recommend considering that. If you again, just depends on how much time you have and how good you want your lawn to look. All right. Next up, he says, I'm also seeing a few white mushrooms. Are they bad? What do I do about them? Nothing. They're not bad. And if you want to get rid of mushrooms, here's how you do it. If you turf rake your lawn regularly, meaning you don't allow thatch and debris to build up in the lawn, then it's much more difficult for mushrooms to develop in your lawn. Like I don't have mushrooms in my back lawn or really any of my lawn, because I turf rake regularly. So ever since I started doing that, that's really been a non-issue. The thing is though, fresh apples, it's not going to hurt anything. In most cases, you'll see the mushrooms early in the morning, and by mid-morning, like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, when it gets hot, they fall over and they're gone until the next day or so. You typically also see them after a period of heavy rainfall, so I really wouldn't worry about it. If you want to get rid of it, it really bugs you that much, then start regularly turf raking your lawn, and you'll get them a lot less frequently if you decide to do that. You have to decide if the juice is worth the squeeze for you, though. If the only reason you turf rake is just to get rid of mushrooms, I don't know that I would do it. But if you're looking to get improved color, less chance for disease in the lawn, just a better cut overall, then yeah, adding turf raking to your program is a good idea. And as far as an inexpensive way to do that, like a Sunjo is an inexpensive way to add turf raking to your lawn care program. All right, we have a super chat. This one is from Mr. Cedric G in the house. What's going on, Cedric? Thank you so much.
Super chat received.
He says, Big Ron, are you still competing in martial arts? I used to call you a weapon of mass destruction, turfs up, furt down, stripe action forever. Yeah, so I just got back from the World Championships a few weeks ago, but I'm not competing anymore. I'm done with competing. So the way it works in our style, in our association, is currently I'm a 3rd degree black belt. And whenever you get the opportunity you're invited to test for 4th degree, to test for master's belt, for 4th dan, once you accept it, then you're done with competing. You can't compete anymore. The theory behind it, in my opinion, is probably because you focus less on yourself, and it's more about promoting the art, teaching more. Like one of the things that I have to do as part of this, of like testing to 4th degree, is I got to write a paper on like a 20,000 word essay on a subject that goes into the library. So it's a lot, and it's like a 2-year process. So like this year I finished like first year of it, and then next year I have to do it again. So it's like 2 years to test from 3rd to 4th degree. So it's a big deal. It's not a short thing to do, but I still get to judge a lot of really cool karate. I get to saw some really good martial arts at the World Championships this year and be part of that. I miss it. I do miss competing, but I've been doing it for, ever since I was a first gup. So what is that? That is, I don't know. So I can't even say how many years. For the last 13 years, I've been competing. So hang it up, man. Let someone else have it. It's time to move on to I guess other things. Another chapter in my martial arts journey. This is the way to look at it. All right. So next we have, where did I leave off here? Next up we got Mr. Jimmy Miller. He says, Ron, I have a question I've not seen addressed on your show. When switching from a rotary to a reel mower, what cost differences should I expect to see? Want to cut 3/4 of an inch, but would be reel mowing. Okay, so the cost differences of a rotary to a reel. It's pretty good. So the cost of maintenance on a reel mower tends to be more expensive than what on a rotary mower. So you are going to, depending on the size of your lawn, depending on how often you mow, depending on how diligent you are about not running over stuff or not mowing anything else other than grass, you may have to get your mower ground at least once per season, and then backlap throughout the season as necessary. Sharpening a mower or grinding a real mower, depending on where you are in the country, can cost anywhere between $100 to $150. Backlapping, you can do it yourself most of the time, and that doesn't really cost anything other than your time. And then outside of that, that's it. I mean, it's really the cost of sharpening that is substantially more than with a rotary. And then the next difference is time. So the biggest cost difference between a rotary mower and a real mower is the amount of time you will spend on the lawn mowing it to really keep it looking nice as far as that manicured look. The cost of maintenance, it is a bit more expensive, but it's like it's not as much as people try to make it out to be. It's really more the time commitment, because now you're going to be mowing at shorter heights, 3/4 of an inch. This time of year, that means mowing every 2 days, every other day, depending on when it's really hot out and the grass is really growing. So it's more of a greater time commitment than a cost or spend commitment. It's not like you're constantly spending money on a real mower. It's really just when you need to grind it, it's more expensive than a rotary mower is to get blade sharpened to replace a blade. So I hope that helps, Jimmy. Still highly recommend real mowing. It is one of the best things you can do for your lawn. As far as like appearance wise, I mean, just nothing really matches the appearance of a real mowed lawn. It looks incredible. Looks really, really incredible, especially if you have the right grass for it, right? So if you get like a fescue lawn, not as big a deal, because those types of grasses, really, you're better off with a rotary mower. But for shortcut grass, zoysia, Bermuda, centipede, like grasses you're trying to get that more manicured look, real mower is the way to go. Real mower is the way to go. If you got the time to do it, by all means, I'd highly recommend that. All right, next up is D Cloak. It says, hey Ron, after blanket spraying for weeds, is there any benefits to leaving the clippings after mowing, or should they be scooped up? It depends on, okay, so depending on how bad the weeds are, like say if the weeds are at the point where they are throwing off seeds, like they're flowering, and to where they are producing seeds, in that case, bagging the clippings is a better idea than just mulching them, because you could be blowing those weed seeds around, and you could be spreading the weed from one part of the lawn to another part of the lawn. So to answer your question, is there any benefits to leaving the clippings on? Not really. I would just I would pick them up and take them out of the lawn. Again, this depends on how bad we're talking about. You're talking about like a weed here and there throughout your lawn, then no, it doesn't really matter if you mow over them. But if you say you have a lawn where you've got like one section where there's a big infestation of weeds, and they are at the point where they're flowering, or they're there's their seed heads that are on them, then in that case I would not mulch them. I would bag the clippings and take them out of the lawn. That way you're just going to reduce the likelihood of those the weeds germinating again. So yeah, so to answer your question, I would opt for scooping them up, for bagging the clippings more so than mulching them. All right, next up we have Jared George. I think we have Jared George, the cloak, where he says, no, I already answered this picture. I answered this question. We're good to go. All right, next up is Charles Westmoreland. He says, hello, Ron and crew. Greetings from Northern Virginia. What can I use to kill Bermuda grass in my cool season lawn, tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass in the vanity strip? Look into a herbicide called Pylex. That is what people commonly use with cool season lawns, typically used to get rid of Bermuda grass. It is not going to be a one and done type thing, though, Charles. It's Bermuda grass is incredibly tenacious. So it's not like you're going to spray this one time and be gone with it, but that's what all the cool kids are using to get rid of Bermuda in their cool season lawns. It's not cheap, but it is cheaper than resodding. So I'll send you a link here to where you can pick it up. It's not cheap again, but again, it's a good. It's what people use and get a good result. All right, so Charles Westmoreland, here you go. All right, Leo Coleman is up next. I'm buying a home with a patchy lawn. Should I wait until next season to top dress? So close to August. Oh, you close August 9th. Yeah, I wouldn't do it this year. That's a bit too. It's a little bit too late. I wouldn't do it this year. What I would say this year is mow it. Mow it. Begin feeding it. Get a soil test done. You can make any amendments that you may need to. Just enjoy the new home, enjoy the new lawn, start getting it, start getting your mower on it and start getting it, getting it whipped into shape. And then next season you can hit it hard. It's August. If you're closing August 9th, you're going to be so busy with moving in and getting other stuff set up. Like you're not going to have time to top dress the lawn. Like if you right after closing. So for me, I would just work on getting the lawn in order, mowing it, feeding it, soil testing, all that kind of stuff, and then getting ready for the following season. All right. Let's see here. Fresh Apples is how can I sharpen my manual reel mower? There should be videos you can find on YouTube for doing that, Fresh Apples. Like there's little kits you can buy for doing it that contain like a lapping compound, and then there's videos online for sharpening a manual reel mower. I don't have a video on it because I never sharpened mine. I used it for a season and change, and then I went to a powered reel mower. Well, actually, I started with a 16-inch, and then I bought a 20-inch, and then I went to a powered reel mower. So I never really wore mine out to the point where I actually had to go through and sharpen them. So I would just search on YouTube on manual reel mower, like Scott's reel mower sharpening, and you'll find a video on showing how to do that. Let's see here. Jim says, going back to my how to cut reset question, do you ever practice this technique? I am mainly doing this as I have some floating in my lawn at 3/4 of an inch and pesky uneven lines appearing more and more. Yeah, so I don't do a height of cut reset, Jim. I verticut. So I get the same result that you're getting with a height of cut reset by verticutting the lawn. So yeah, but the result is the same. It thins out the lawn. It improves the cut quality, which is what we're after. But I don't use a scalp or how to cut reset to be able to do that. I verticut it. And then we see Alex Coronado says, why does it seem like most professionals prefer Bermuda over fescue, Kentucky, I guess bluegrass? I don't know. Is that really true? I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think that people that are really into their lawns that want a golf course lawn look, then Bermuda is a better choice because it can be cut shorter. But if you have a cool season lawn, Kentucky bluegrass can be mowed shorter, ryegrass can be mowed shorter. Fescue is not a great choice if you are trying to mow very short, but it can look nice. There's lots of great, we've got pictures of the live stream. Like last week I was showing, I forget his name, that sent some pictures of his lawn. Looks incredible. And it's a fescue lawn. Beautiful, beautiful, rich color. Looks great. So it just really depends on a couple of things, like where you are in the country. So what kind of grasses you have at your option based on where you live. And then what look you're after. So if you like a taller, that more like plush carpet, like shag carpet type like look, then a grass like fescue is good. If you want that more manicured look with a that real mow, that golf course lawn fairway look, then a Kentucky bluegrass or a ryegrass is a better option. And if you live in the South where it tends to get hotter, that is when your zoysia and Bermuda tend to be a better option if you want that short cut grass look. If you want the tall grass look, then St. Augustine if you're in an area with hotter climate. So it really depends on where you are and also the look you're after in your lawn to dictate which what you go with as far as grass type. But I wouldn't say that professionals choose Bermuda over fescue or KBG. It's really a preference thing. Really a preference thing of what you're after. Lo says, Ron, I just got a Sunjoe. Is it too late to scare for my Bermuda? I'm in Southern California. Nope, not too late. Go light is all I would tell you. Don't get too aggressive with it. It's not too late at all. Still plenty of time. Jared says, I still want a ryegrass overseed this fall. I know perennial rye is better, but harder to get rid of than annual. Any known cultivar perennial that are known to die off easier or darker annual rye? Yeah, so perennial rye looks better. What you're going to want to do is just spray it out. The mistake that people make with ryegrass is they will overseed the Bermuda lawn with ryegrass. It starts to grow and they're like, oh, it looks so fabulous, it looks so amazing. And then the problem with ryegrass is it looks incredible in like late March, early April timeframe. Big part of why the Masters like April-ish timeframe, because that's when ryegrass looks really good, right? But that's the time when you want to get rid of it. So because that's when your Bermuda's coming out of dormancy, and what most people do is like, oh, it looks so beautiful in April, I don't want to get rid of it. And then they delay it, and what happens is when May rolls around or maybe even June rolls around, the ryegrass begins to die off because of the heat, or you finally decide to spray it out, and the Bermuda is so far behind because it's been competing with this ryegrass when it was trying to come out of dormancy. So if you decide to go that route, Jared, you have to get rid of it like April timeframe. Late March, early April, when it's really starting to look its best, is when you got to spray it out. so that the Bermuda can come out of dormancy and do well. If not, the Bermuda is going to struggle, and it can take well into June or July for the Bermuda to really grow in and fill in after a ryegrass overseed. So just realize there's no free lunch. You have to kind of know what you're getting into if you decide to go that route. All right, AC says, what do you recommend to lay down instead of topsoil after seeding? Seems like topsoil comes with weeds. So if you want something that is not going to have weeds in it, AC, what I would recommend is carbonized PN. So if you go to shop on the Golf Course Lawn Store and Miramichi Green Biostimulants, this is an excellent product to use as part of your seeding project. You can lightly top dress with this, and you're not going to have a bunch of weeds that are going to be introduced into the lawn by using this product. It comes in this size and is also available in a 2,000-pound super sack that we also carry on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So it just depends on how much material you need. Carbonized PN is the way I would go. And I'll link to that for you here in the chat, sir. And hopefully get you all squared away. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Jimmy says, main question was regarding the state of my lawn after the stump removal and how that would affect the transition to a real mower now rather than once used from now. It really shouldn't, Jimmy. I mean, if you get rid of a stump in your lawn, the big thing is any ruts or low areas that are left back from the tree being removed. You're going to want to address those. So you're going to want to, level them, either do some fill dirt to build up those areas, or do a top dressing or lawn leveling to help, to just make the lawn overall smoother. That is going to set you up for success when it comes to real mowing those parts of the lawn. So it's, you're not saying it's strictly necessary, but if you're really going for that manicured look as you go from a rotary to a reel, especially with a lawn where there's been a tree that's been removed and this kind of thing, it's worth taking the time to invest in a leveling, doing like leveling to really get yourself in a good position to really take advantage of that real mower you're eventually going to end up with. So just something to keep in mind. I have to find your pictures and look at them, but that just thinking of stump removal, leveling is the thing I would say you're going to want to look into. And time frame when you can do that, depending on where you are in the country, April to May is when I would look into doing a leveling job on a lawn. Okay, next up is Macho Buck. He says, "Hey Ron, I just did last year. Hey Ron, I just got last year. They did a terrible job leveling the lawn. When I mow the rotary mower, it scalps. Will a push mower work better at cutting low without a scalp?" Yeah. So if your lawn is so uneven that it's scalping with a rotary mower, then you have two options. You can raise the height of cut, or you can level the lawn and then you can maintain that height of cut. And then that reduces the chances of scalping. A reel mower is, due to the way they cut, they are less likely to scalp than a rotary mower is. But even with a reel mower, there's still limitations, right? So if you got like big ruts in your lawn, even a reel mower is not going to, it still needs to be a relatively decent surface to get a good job with using that piece of equipment on your lawn. So, I see here. You said when you install sod this is the question. When I installed sod last year, I was having problems with scalping. Will cutting low with a push reel mower work better? Yes. As a general rule, yes. You'll be able to cut at the same height of cut or slightly lower with a push reel mower with less chance for scalping. It depends on how bad your lawn is. Again, if there's a lot of ruts in it, then you're still going to have some challenges with even a push reel mower. So what I would say is, you got the sod installed, get like if whoever you hired to do the leveling work, or if you've not done a leveling job on the lawn yet, consider doing that. It's going to make the rotary mower cut better, and it's also going to make the reel mower cut a lot better. So, depending on how good a job they did with putting the sod in, which sounds like you weren't too happy with it, that is where lawn leveling will help, kind of take the sharp dips and bumps out of the lawn, and will improve your cut quality. So that's something I would look into for early next season. All right, Sean Campbell is here. He says 100 to 114 daily for the last 3 weeks in Sacramento. Looks like it may be time for a change from cool season grass to warm season grass. Using hydrogen, RGS, aerate, humic, micro. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, 104 to 114. I mean, if you can probably get by with a different grass type. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know exactly where Sacramento is in California, but I mean, if those are the kind of temps you're seeing, then yeah, maybe Bermuda or Zoysia would be a better grass in your a better choice for your lawn. Aaron Lee Pate says Zoysia is very bad with dog urine. That is not a good idea. Yeah, I mean the big thing is it just recovers so slowly, right? Because of how slow it grows. If it gets damaged, it's just going to look ugly for longer than say a Bermuda lawn will, because it just takes a lot longer to grow in. All right, our fragrance journey says, "Good evening, Ron." We have 26 days, 16 hours, 46 minutes, and 26 seconds before the college football season begins. Yes, I agree. And then that word, I'm not going to say. I'm not playing tonight, fragrance journey. I'm just not doing it. It's not tonight. But it doesn't really matter, because I mean, all I'm looking for is whenever Georgia meets Alabama, and then we'll talk. Then we'll see. But yeah, 26 days, huh? Less than a month. That's cool. Let's see. Daddy Batty 8 says, it says, gonna change the front yard from fescue to hybrid Bermuda. Should I pre-germinate the seed? I've never done that, but it seems like that is all the rage these days. Everyone talking about pre-germinating. It's like that's the only way to do grass seed. If you want to, and you can find a good guide on doing it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I've just never done it personally myself. But the folks that have done it, I want to say, what's his name? the SEC guy from Louisiana. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. I believe he did that with his Monaco grass, with his Monaco renovation, and he got really good results with it. So I'm inclined to say yes, but I'm not saying that from personal experience. I'm just from the results I've seen other people get from pre-germinating their grass seed. All right, I've already answered that one. B law as far as herbicides for Bahia grass. Tom Hoffenkamp says, I'm also in SoCal. I waited until mid-August, and that was a mistake. I would go ASAP for the Scarify. I was surprised at how much of a change the Sunjo showed in a couple spots of regrowth. Yeah, so you were asking Alos about doing the Scarify. Get sooner better than later. Don't really wait. There's no reason to wait. Whenever the lawn is actively growing, it's going to recover faster from that type of work. So there's no reason to wait till later in the season to do it. Kind of like what Tom is saying. Next up is Farrak. Hang on. He says, hello, Ron. Any way to kill centipede in Bermuda? Also, the tall fescue on the other side of my lawn started growing and greening up again. Should I fertilize? Kennesaw, Georgia. All right, so as far as killing centipede in Bermuda, if you spray centipede with quinclorac, it's a herbicide that we use usually for crabgrass, but neither St. Augustine or centipede tolerate it very well. So if you want to selectively get rid of centipede in Bermuda, you can use quinclorac to do so. Be sure to use surfactant with it for best results. So if you go to shop and then weed killer and then scroll down to right here, this is quinclorac. And this will do a number on centipede grass. Your Bermuda, again, will tolerate it just fine. Use surfactant with it for best results. And then as far as your fescue starting to green up, should you fertilize again? Sure. I mean, if it's greening up nicely and you're mowing it and it's looking better, yeah, then absolutely feed it. No problems with doing that. Don't go heavy-handed with your nitrogen inputs. But yeah, if it's growing and you're mowing it, you can absolutely feed it. And again, I just sent you a link to where you can find quinclorac, which again will do a good job of cleaning up that centipede in your Bermuda lawn. All right, Warrior 1 is up next. 1 second here. Making a note to 01. Okay. Warrior 1 is up next and has a question that says, what was the best fungicide for St. Augustine grass? I mean, there's a lot of them. If you like liquid fungicide, I like Pillar SC because it's 2 fungicides in one. If you like granular fungicide, like you prefer to provide granular products, then Headway G. So for liquid, Pillar SC, this one right here. For granular, Headway G. They both are, the fungicides that are in them are of the same families, they're of the same groups. So they're both combination products. So either one of these will work great. Pillar SC is going to work a little bit faster being a liquid. But again, both are excellent products. You really can't go wrong with either of them. So what I will do is I'll send you a link here to fungicides, the fungicides that we carry on the store. I need to undo that. Yep, and then that will get you all squared away. Yeah, so here we go. So you'll see both Pillar and Headway there, Warrior One. All right, let's see here. Melvin Otta. He says, almost 3 weeks, 3 rainy weeks here. I can't mow. My Bermuda grass is about 1.5 inches from 3/4. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't been able to mow for several weeks, then yeah, it's gonna grow. I mean, the thing is, I found it's been raining quite a bit here in Northeast Georgia too, but I've been able to find, a couple hours of dry weather here and there to get my mows in. So it hasn't really held me back from being able to mow. But you are right. If you've gone several weeks without mowing your grass, it's going to get taller. And you're probably going to if you want to get back down to 3/4 of an inch, you're just going to have to slowly step it back down if you want to maintain your color. If you don't want to, you don't want to take a hit to your green. Progression Decimal says, over here and coming, the Bermuda is so green. I'm a bit impatient and I have some low spots where I planted Bermuda plugs. Can I get away with the sand compost leveling now or deal with it next spring? If you're going to do it, I would do it now. Like in the next week or two is the latest I would actually do any kind of leveling work in Northeast Georgia. I really wouldn't wait much longer than that because depending on how heavy you go, you want to make sure there's enough time for the lawn to recover. So late July, first part of August is really the latest I would go as far as leveling work goes, Progression Decibel. Not too late yet, but really you got to make a decision and go for it. And if you decide to do so, go light. Don't get too heavy on the as far as how much material you put down. All right, Les Grossman says, my lawn has a lot of grub worms. What can I do? You can use an insecticide, Les, and the insecticide that I like is a product called Acelepryn. So if you look here, Acelepryn comes in a couple of different options. You've got Acelepryn G as a granular, or you've got Acelepryn SC as a suspension concentrate as a liquid. Either one of them will work well. Liquid works a little bit faster because it gets in the soil faster, but either are a great option. This is what I would use, and you can absolutely apply it this time of year without issue. So Acelepryn is what you're going to be after. What I'll do is I'll just link in the chat to you the liquid. But if you just search for the same name, Acelepryn, on the Golf Course Lawn Store, you'll be able to find the granular as well too. So there you go. Archie Amos says, evening, young man. Just joining and looking forward to a great show. I appreciate that, Archie. Thank you for taking the time to stop in and say hello. Hello. And then Tom Hoffenkamp is chiming in. He says, at Dalvin, I was having some leaf spot issues with Pillar 336F as well. What fixed it for me was careful reading of the label. 336F is 6 ounces per 1,000 for leaf spot, which is, I think normally it's like, was it like 2 to 4? I believe. So I guess you gotta go heavier, Tom. I also used less the first time and also reduced the amount of water. So there you go, Dalvin. Tom has given you some guidance there. So if you got some 336F, look at bumping that rate up a little bit per the label and see if you get a better result. Progression Decimal says, I do a split pre-emergent on my lawn in September, October, then again, February, March. You mentioned Spectacle Flow for fall. Which product, if different, for spring app? Prodiamine. So in the fall, I would use Spectacle Flow, and then for the spring, either Prodiamine or dithiopyr. So either one of those. This year I did Prodiamine, but either one will work. Dimension or dithiopyr or Prodiamine are great options for your spring pre-emergent. Spectacle Flow I really would only use in the fall. Great product, not inexpensive, but really good product. Says, how often should you turf rake your lawn? It's really your call. I mean, I've done it. I've played with it. I've done it as frequently as every week. This season, I've done it every couple of weeks, every 2 weeks. So I would turf rake, and then so every other turf rake that I do, it ends up being around when I have to verticut. So I will turf rake once throughout the month, and then verticut, turf rake, and then turf rake again. So it's for me, it's been like twice a month on the turf raking, and then once a month on the verticutting. Last season, I did it every week. This year, I said if I back it off a little bit and do it once every couple of weeks, what difference do I get? And it's the lawn still looks good, a little bit less work, and that's what I've been doing. So hope that helps. Upper 510. It depends on the lawn too. Remember, my lawn has been through a lot as far as cultivation. Like I mean, it's been verticut, turf raked. It's been, I take really good care of it. So if if it's your first year introducing that cultivation, that practice, then maybe weekly is better for you, or maybe every 3 weeks is a better choice for you. In my case, on my lawn, I can get by with once every couple of weeks, and the lawn still looks great going that route. So unfortunately, the best answer is it depends. Let's see here. Brian Howell says, what is the best way to level 1 to 2 inch ruts and depressions, sand, topsoil, potting soil, or a mixture? 1 to 2 inches, you could use you could use a blend. You could use like a compost and sand blend. Just make sure you pack it down so it settles. It doesn't so you reduce the amount of settling you get, and that would be okay. If you use topsoil, fill dirt, potting soil, it's still the same. You want to make sure that you compact it as you are putting it down. Otherwise, it's going to settle and you're going to end up with a small rut otherwise. So make sure that you are compacting it as you are you're filling in the rut. All right. Toucan Sam says, in regards to a reel mower, what's the difference between a 5-blade and a 10-blade as far as cut quality? Yeah, so traditionally, I mean, it's more complicated than just in the blade count, but given the same diameter reel, because the diameter of the reel does make a difference with this, given the same diameter reel, more blades will increase the clip rate, which becomes more important as the height of cut goes lower. So really, the number of blades you want to match to how low you're maintaining the lawn, or you're maintaining that stand of turf grass. So for example, greens mowers will have 11 or 14 blade reels, because you're cutting turf grass very, very short. And a higher clip rate is necessary to get that nice cut on a shorter stand of turf grass. If you're, for example, my reel mower, my Greensmaster, I've got an 11 blade reel in it, and per Toro's documentation, the recommended height of cut is between 1/4 of an inch up to, on the low end, up to 3/4 of an inch, so 0.75 inches on the high end. Mine is currently set to 5/8, so that's, I'm in that spot, in the range of what's correct for that reel. If you went with an 8-inch with an 8-blade reel, then you're shifting the height of cut further up. So if you're trying to cut, let's say, 1/4 of an inch, an 8-blade reel would not be your best choice. It's gonna be better suited to heights of cut, over 1/2 an inch. Between 1/2 an inch to an inch, an 8-blade reel is gonna be a better choice. So for most people, a 7-blade, 6-blade, 7-blade, 8-blade, like between 6 to 8 blades is great for residential lawns, for the heights of cut that we tend to maintain our lawns at. Once you start getting into 11-blade reels, you really got to keep up with your mowing. Like, for example, you don't want to try and cut an overgrown lawn with an 11-blade reel. You want the grass to be well manicured, to where you're only taking off very little, kind of like what you'd be doing on a green, which is partly why, because my mower has an 11-blade reel in it, I mow the lawn every other day, and what comes off looks like powder. It's literally like just dust that comes off it. It does a very good job cutting the grass, but I wouldn't want to use an 11-blade reel to cut a lawn once a week. It's not going to do a good job. The mower's going to bog down. It's just not going to produce a good cut, because that's not what it's designed for. So for most people, 6 to 8 blade is going to produce a better cut than like an 11 or 14 blade on most lawns. And this is also assuming that we're talking about the diameter of the reel being the same across all of those different blade counts. So hope that helps, Toucan Sam. For most people, again, 6 to 8 blade. That's where I would stay. Jimmy Miller is up next. He says, regarding the cost, I was thinking more on line of fungicides and other costs that I'm not currently incurring because of my high to cut. Would cutting lower costs than cutting it to it? Yeah, exactly. Because so the reason why cutting lower you tend to have more costs is because you're injuring the grass a lot more. If you think about it, what I recommend as far as like fungicide use is a couple of times per year. So May, June timeframe, I think a good preventative fungicide makes a lot of sense. And then again in the fall, preventative fungicides makes a lot of sense. So you're talking about 2 times throughout the year when you'd be applying fungicide. If you are going to a green, like they spray fungicides every couple of weeks, literally, because that's what it takes on a sanding turf grass that is highly stressed. You're mowing it literally every day. You're injuring it every single day, which is why with like greens, it's really so important that the mower kept sharp. Even when you're cutting your lawn, a residential lawn, the lower you go, the more important it is that the equipment be sharp, because the lower the height of cut, the more frequently you have to cut the lawn to maintain the color and keep the lawn looking good at that height. So because you're injuring it more, you want to minimize that injury by ensuring you're cutting it with sharp equipment. So it's not necessarily a real mower thing that is causing you to have to use fungicide. It's the fact that you're going to more, what the term is like, more highly maintained turf. You're cutting it lower, which is going to require more frequent mowing, which is going to cause more injury, which necessitates the use of fungicides to help prevent disease issues in the lawn. So it's all part of it, man. The lower you go, the more you have to do. That's just the way it is. You know, a 2-inch lawn is less work to maintain than a lawn at 3/4 of an inch. That's just the way it is. It's just, the lower you go, the more work that goes into it, the more you have to do to keep it looking good. So hope that helps, Jimmy. He says, do you also own a rotary mower since you started real mowing? I do not. I don't own a rotary mower. I've never personally owned a rotary mower since when I was like a kid, I think. Like my dad, I didn't even know when it was my dad's mower. So I'm trying to think if I've ever personally bought a rotary mower in the end. I think the answer is no. I don't think I've ever bought a rotary mower myself. So no. I definitely don't have one now. I don't know what I would even do with it. I mean, I guess if I aerated the lawn and I wanted to run over plugs, I could use the rotary mower for that. But outside of that, I wouldn't really have any use for a rotary mower. It's like I got limited space in my garage, and I don't have anywhere to put it. So nope, no rotary mower. James Smith says, Ron, quick pop in. Still in Hawaii, what's your drink of the night? Tonight, Jim, you will be upset. Tonight, it is strictly Chick-fil-A lemonade, a little bit of water. The lemonade is mixed a little bit stronger tonight, so you're not going to be happy about that. My sugar intake is higher than it should be, but it is quite tasty. You said tonight for you, you're having a mango smoothie this afternoon, and everyone, let's make sure we get those likes in. We know Ron sleeps better at night. Your smoothie is likely healthier than my Chick-fil-A lemonade and water blend, Jim. But hey, you're like an ultra marathoner, so you need to be more cognizant of that stuff than I do. Next up, we have Levance Hopkins. He says, hey, Ron, I've heard you can put some Epsom salt on your lawn and it will help it turn green, and it's good for the soil. Yeah, I've heard that too, Levance. I've not personally done, I think I've did it like one time, and I didn't notice a big difference. Maybe some of those things you have to do regularly, and then you'd notice it, but I personally have not seen, from the one time I did it, I didn't notice a big difference, and it's like one more thing to do. And my lawn art looks pretty good, so I just didn't see the need to add like something else to my program. So there probably is some truth to it. I just haven't done it regularly enough to be able to quantify that yes, it does like materially produce a better result versus not doing it. Good evening, Ryan. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming to stop by. And then next we have Ask Mike About Mortgages. You're the guy to ask about mortgages, Mike? He says, I live in the South and I have centipede, and after 3 years, I have big chunks in the yard with no grass. I'm beginning to doubt why I chose centipede. Yeah, I mean, like many things in life, Mike, it's like you can always chalk it up to it seemed like a good idea at the time, right? You can always change it, though. You can always renovate. If you get rid of centipede, you can go to zoysia, you can go to Bermuda. You know, if centipede is growing well where you are, there are other grasses that will grow well where you are as well too. So it just depends on how much you're disliking the centipede and whether or not you want to take on the monumental challenge of doing a renovation. It's easier to say, hey, I'm gonna do renovation than actually doing the renovation. But it can be done. You want to see a really cool one? If we look here at, I think, is it Arwen? Is it Arwen that did it? Yeah, so there you go. You see, that's the kind of prep work that you get to do a renovation job. And then this is it after he was done. Actually, let me see if I can find the picture that's actually the same area. Let me see. So from that one, nope, I think it's this guy's the last one. So from that one, yeah, to that. So that's him doing all the preparation work, and this was a zoysia grass seeding project. So this is him preparing, and this is the result. Just a couple of months later. So it is possible. Just you have to decide how much you hate your centipede lawn and how much work you want to put into to go into something else. Chris Rossi says, will I benefit from using PGR on my Kentucky bluegrass mixed lawn? And have you ever used Premaxis? Yes, you would benefit from using PGR on your KBG lawn. And I think Premaxis has got Trinexapac. I think it's a Trinexapac ethyl growth regulator, I believe. I've not used it because the only ones I've ever used in the past that have Trinexapac ethyl I've used T-Nex many years ago. And the past few years, I've gone to Primo Max, and this is what I've been using. And I love the results that I get with it. So no need to switch away. So no, I've never used that particular growth regulator myself to be able to tell you how well it works or doesn't work. All right, next up we got Josh Transport. He says, I have 70% Bermuda and a 30% patch of St. Augustine. What should I do? What do you want? Do you want the Bermuda or do you want the St. Augustine? If you want the Bermuda, spray the St. Augustine with quinclorac. If you want the St. Augustine, spray the Bermuda with Recognition and Fusillade. So it really depends on which way you want to go. If you want if you like the Bermuda, get rid of it with quinclorac, or spray the St. Augustine with quinclorac. And if you want, I'll show you really quick here. We can go back. So to get rid of Bermuda grass in St. Augustine, you will want this, Recognition and Fusillade. This herbicide stack will selectively remove Bermuda grass from a St. Augustine or zoysia lawn. If you want to get rid of the St. Augustine in your zoysia lawn and your Bermuda lawn, then use quinclorac. This will selectively remove St. Augustine from a Bermuda lawn. So it really depends out of those two, which one you want gone. The way you wrote the question kind of leads me to believe that you refer to the St. Augustine as a patch. So I feel like that's the one you want gone. If so, quinclorac is what you're going to want to use. So at either rate, Josh, you can find both of those that I spoke about here. Recognition and Fusillade is not an inexpensive combination, but it's a lot cheaper than resodding. So hope that helps, sir. And then, yes, and Chris, yeah, to answer your question again, yeah, you would benefit by using growth regulator on your lawn. Even if it's at 2 1/4 inches, there's still benefits to doing it. And I've not used that one you were talking about. Okay, You Ought to Get to Me says, applying half rate of Primo every 15 days to common Oklahoma, Bermuda with great results. What fertilizer can I mix in? And would I also spray it at half rate every 15 days as well, or fertilize every 30 days? Or, okay, I'll just answer your question. So if you're spraying Primo every 2 weeks, what you're going to do is, can you mix fertilizer with it? Yes. Which fertilizer would I recommend that you mix with it? You got a couple different options. If you want like simple, like one fertilizer is going to do a pretty good job, then our new 22-3 liquid fertilizer, this mixes great with Primo, and you could spray this at 6 ounces per 1,000 every 2 weeks. So you would spray Primo at, I'm not sure what rate you're using for common, but you spray Primo at whatever rate you're using for common. I think it's like 0.38-ish, thereabouts, 0.38 per 1,000 every 2 weeks for common Bermuda. And then along with that, you'd be 6 ounces per 1,000 of this. And that's going to work. That's going to work just fine. No negatives at all with going that route. So to help you out, you ought to get to me. I'll just post it in the chat right now because I don't think I can. I'm not sure if I can type your name with the way you have your handle spells. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. That's the product. Fresh Apple says, what's the cheapest powered reel mower? I mean, pre-owned, it depends. I mean, pre-owned, True Cuts, McLean's, Trimmer, California Trimmer, you can find all those pre-owned, and they're going to be less. The one that I would recommend, you're not going to be able to really find pre-owned just yet, I don't think. So I would say the Revolution 26, if you're in the market for a powered reel mower, is the best value for money, in my opinion. Like I think they're like $2,700, $2,800, and it punches well above its weight based on what you pay. So that's the way I would go if you are if you're going for a reel mower. But it's, I know you're on a budget, but I mean the thing is, once you go into powered reel mowing, like again, there's still also the maintenance of it too, right? So like you got to get it ground or sharpened, once a season, backlapping. So it's not an inexpensive thing to take care of. But if you're going to buy a brand new one, then I would say the Revolution 26. Otherwise, a pre-owned, I'd almost say Trimmer or McLean over a True Cut, because you can't even getting parts for True Cuts has become a nightmare here lately. So I really wouldn't even tell anyone to buy a True Cut these days until they fix like the issues they have with parts. All right. It says Ruben Texera says, Ron, hope all is well. You're a genius. I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Says your recommendations on my lawn were so correct. This week, I mowed my lawn 3 times this week. Had some rain and the grass grew rapidly. Thanks for everything. You are very welcome, sir. It's amazing with a little bit of mowing and water. Like mowing covers a multitude of sins. You mess up your lawn, you over fertilize it, you burn your lawn. Just keep mowing it. It'll grow through it. It'll be fine. You spray too much herbicide and it's not looking good. Just keep mowing it. It'll grow through it. You don't mow your lawn for a long time and the grass gets overgrown, just keep mowing it. It'll get better. So mowing, it all comes back to mowing. Mowing is the answer. Mowing is the key. Everything else is important, but mowing is the thing that brings it all together and really produces that nice manicure look that we're all after. Meaning I could spray everything I do on my lawn, do all the stuff that I talk to you guys about all the time, and if I didn't mow it, it would not look like that. It would be nice and green, but it would be nice and green and tall and not that great. So mowing is what produces that beautiful manicured look that we're all after. All right. Brian Howell says, can I spray T-Nex after I had a cut reset, or should I wait until the Bermuda starts getting green again? You can spray afterwards, because really, yeah, you've cut a lot of material off, but you're not going to scalp it down to dirt, right? Like there's still going to be some leaf there. So yeah, you can do that if you want to. You can spray or whatever growth regulator you're going to use after a hide cut reset. Again, I'm assuming you're not going crazy aggressive to where you're taking it down to the dirt, right? So in that case, yes. Levance Hopkins says, hey Ron, what's your take on using Milorganite every other month? I wouldn't. I would use the new fertilizer that we're carrying from Miramichi Green. Like Milo's gotten, like I use a ton of Milorganite over the years, but here recently it's just gotten too expensive. Like what you're paying for Milorganite, you can, case in point, like Milo around here, I haven't even priced it this year. Last year was like $26 a bag, and I stopped looking at it then. So it's probably more this year because nothing's gotten cheaper. You could buy this and have it shipped to your door, and it's going to cover more, and it's a better product in every way than Milorganite is. So if you want to do a granular fertilizer every other month, I would do this. Really, I would apply this every month. But if you want to do something every other month, then this would be a good option. I really wouldn't use Milo. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't like Milo. Lord knows I've used plenty of it over the years, but not anymore. Not anymore. Plus, the fertilizer I just linked to you is a truly organic OMRI-listed product. So if you want like a truly organic fertilizer, that is a better choice. All right. Jimmy says, what happened or has made getting parts for True Cut such a nightmare? I believe the company was sold, because True Cut used to be, if I'm not mistaken, out of California, and now they're somewhere in the Midwest. And ever since that happened, it's become like not great as far as getting parts. So, all right. Terrence Stamps says, Ron, I have cool season lawn that I want to thicken up. Is overseeding advisable? If so, when? Thanks for all you do. It depends on, yes, if you want to get it to thicken up, yes, you can overseed in like late August timeframe. Here's the thing, Terrence, if you're mowing it regularly, you're feeding it, the grass should thicken up, because the thing with overseeding, and I know people like to do that because it's like something to do and like it's what everybody does in the fall, but the negative to overseeding your lawn is that if you do that and you really want to get a good result with the overseeding, you can't apply pre-emergent, which then creates another problem of like weeds in your lawn. So if it's me, unless you've got a lawn with a lot of bare spots and just been neglected, and you're using overseeding as a way to thicken it up then, or to kind of get it going, then fine. But as far as like every spring I got to overseed or every fall I got to overseed, you really shouldn't have to do that unless you're using it as a tool to fix damage. It's not, for me, given the choice, I would rather keep weeds out of my lawn than use grass seed to try and get it to thicken up, because if I'm mowing it regularly, I'm giving it enough water, and I've got a good nutrient program, all of which are pretty easy to do. We've got like a free nutrient program on the Golf Course Lawn Store, a monthly calendar you can follow. Like, your lawn should be nice and thick. You shouldn't have to rely on overseeding to get the lawn to look good. So depends on where you are. But again, I would, as needed is what I would say. It should not be something that you're just doing every year. I know a lot of people do that every fall, but there's a lot of things people do every single fall that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And if you want that calendar I'm talking about, the month-by-month breakdown, you can find it right here. And actually, you know what? To make it easier for you guys, I will make it the pinned comment. How about them apples? Even easier for you. All right, Jacob Fuentes says, hello, Ron. I'm currently applying the Country Club 1608 once per month at 3 pounds per thousand. I like it. Along with Turflex 22.3 at half rate at 6 ounces twice per month. That'll work. That'll do it. No issues with that at all. Progression Decibel says, Ron, earlier you mentioned of carbonized PN for light top dressing overseed spot. Use it standalone or mixed with sand. Either way can work. You can use it by itself or you can mix with sand. Most people that mix it with sand do so whenever they are leveling the lawn. But if you're just looking for some rich organic material as a way to lightly cover the grass you just put down, you can use carbonized PN by itself. So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you are looking to level the lawn, then mixing carbonized PN with sand makes sense. If all you're doing is looking for a rich compost material that's not going to introduce a bunch of weeds to your lawn as part of a seeding project, and there's no real need to mix sand with it, you can just apply carbonized PN and go on about your day. So it really depends on what problem you are trying to solve with that. Next up, we have he says, yeah, so it's not really a question, but yeah, what you're doing sounds good, Jacob. He says, along with micronutrients at the same rate as Turflex, I started Primo Max this month at half rate twice a month. I like that. I haven't noticed my vertical growth slow down. It's interesting. I mean, really, you should, when I spray Primo, like 2 days afterwards, I notice a noticeable difference in the slowing of the rate of the grass. So what I would tell you is maybe check your rate, double check the rates you're using. For Bermuda grass, your rate is going to be, let's say you have a 4,000 square foot lawn. It will be half an ounce, so 0.5 fluid ounces in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet on the low end. On the high end, it'll be 0.8 fluid ounces in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet. That corresponds to the rate that's on the label of 0.25 to 0.38 ounces for hybrid Bermuda grass. Because for hybrid Bermuda, you have a range of a quarter of an ounce all the way up to just under like 0.4 of an ounce. So if you take that, divide it and take the half rate of that in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet, that works out to half an ounce. So I'll show you really quickly here. That works out to 0.5, works out to 0.5 fluid ounces on the low end, or 0.5 and then 0.3, so a total of 0.8 fluid ounces on the high end. That would be the half rate for Primo for hybrid Bermuda grass every 2 weeks. So I would say double check your rate, because you should notice a difference in the rate of the growth of the lawn. And then our last comment of the evening is Terrence Stamps. He says, I have a shady front yard and it struggles a bit, so I figured overseeding would help. If you can reduce the shade, that will help as well too, because all grasses do better with some sunlight. You know what I mean? So if you got an area with a lot of shade, seeding will help some, but really just getting more sunlight on the area that's a little bit thin will help even more. So hope that helps, Terrence. Well, guys, gals, on that bombshell, we will cue the outro music. So hopefully you guys got some value out of the show this evening. I showed off some really cool lawns from everyone else, like Trilla, Larry, Colby. We got to see a lot of really cool lawns, some working well, some that are struggling. But one thing I tell you guys is, throughout the season, your lawn is going to go through different phases, right? Like if you, earlier in the season when temperatures are cooler, if you had a cool season lawn, it's going to do better. As you move in the summer, it's going to struggle. That's completely normal. And what you're going to find is when you get into the fall now, it's going to look better. So just enjoy the ebbs and flows of how your lawn changes throughout the season because it's completely normal. It's really difficult to make a lawn look perfect all year round. And if that's the goal you have, it's really an exercise in frustration. So again, hope you guys got some value out of it. I really appreciate you guys taking some time, away from the Olympics tonight to be part of the live stream. Get out there this weekend, do something fun in your lawn, mow your grass, put out your growth regulator, whatever it happens to be that's on your calendar for this weekend. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care and have an amazing weekend.